too, but
I'd watch that set.
I would as well.
Gibson are like a PR fucking dumpster fire, aren't
They are, especially like this year. They've been fucking terrible.
Yeah. So, welcome to the Little Slice podcast.
Oh god, we're going right in.
That's how we'll start it with
like it.
just
I wasn't
abuse
ready.
towards Gibson.
Catch us all off guard. I like it.
Edge of your seat.
So yeah,
That's the Gibson sponsorship algorithm.
mate, if Gibson came to me with a sponsorship, I'd lap that shit up.
I thought you were going to say, I
Tell them to fuck off. I'm rock and roll.
You'd take that sponsorship, and then they'd sue you for taking that sponsorship.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it as long as I get a Les Paul.
Be all
That's
right.
all right. I'm currently on the hunt for a gold top Les Paul. So
The 180 that you've done on Les Pauls is astounding.
It's mad, isn't it?
You do
I used to
180s
hate
on
them.
guitars, but this Les Paul one has gone from like the worst guitar ever, hideous,
I had a Les
not
Paul.
versatile.
I had a Les Paul. It was just too heavy. It started like really hurting my neck when I was
Yeah,
playing.
but they got that meaty sound.
They do
this,
sound nice.
This thing is like, I still don't like a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
but gold tops are beautiful,
That's true.
and some vintage sunbursts are pretty nice looking. To be fair,
Yeah.
Let me tell you about this little-known piece of music gear that I prefer. It's called an SM58. You might have heard of it.
Yeah,
Got
we're
him,
going
boys.
to carry that on.
Pause
No,
after that.
there's nothing more to say about that one. It's a great bit of kit.
we're not even using SM58s to record. We're
We're
using
not, no.
the competitor AKG
Ooh.
D5s.
And there goes the Shaw sponsorship.
I'm sorry, sure. I
There's
love
another
you,
one
Jim.
to tick off the list.
If Shaw want to give me some
Some mics.
S7Bs,
SM7Bs.
I need some of that shit.
Oh,
in
I
my
actually,
life.
I don't even use an SM58. I use a Lewitt MTP50.
Yeah,
So
because
if
you're a
Lewitt
pretentious.
Oh, it's such a good microphone. So if Lewitt want to give me a sponsorship or a brand deal, then
Yeah. All right.
Domino's, do you want to sponsor me?
oh yes. Imagine every week we sat down to do this podcast, and like as soon as we hit record, Domino's guy turns up. Like, here you go, boys.
Yeah.
But who are we sponsored by this week? Because we had my EP last week.
I
We
ain't
need a
got
sponsor.
shit, so.
No.
We're going to be sponsored by Scavengers
You know what? Yeah.
this week.
You know what? I'll put my chips on the table for this one. This week, this episode is sponsored by my band, Scavengers.
It's your album, your
There
band.
we go.
Oh, I wish we had an album. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
No, as in like the album this week
That'd
is
be
your
very
pick.
funny.
That makes sense.
Ha 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 ha. All right. Yeah. So welcome to the show,
What's the show called?
The Little Slice.
Who are the hosts?
One of them is me over here.
Over where?
Right over
Again,
here.
another visual direction on an audio-only platform. I'm Spike.
I didn't say my name.
Well, you did. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I
Didn't
said
he?
me over
Oh,
here.
me over here. That's your name now.
Hi, me over here. I'm Dad.
We don't need your name. You're just over there. That's all we need to know.
What is your name then, Dan?
I'm,
I mean,
Wait.
Missed it over by you.
This has been ruined. This was my one shot, my 15 seconds.
So welcome to the Little Slice podcast with your hosts Marek, Spike, Jim, and that guy over there.
Actually, my name is me over here.
God damn it. That's my cousin.
Yeah, so we're going to discuss some
Before we do
music today.
Before we do any discussion, I do need to do a little eating of my own words. As in, last week I was saying that Andy Warhol was not a song for me.
Have you been listening to it?
I have.
Yeah.
I've turned around on it. I quite like it now.
It's class.
It's
man.
grown on me. It's absolutely grown on me.
And I
think
said
I
I'd
remember
call you
that.
out on this. What's the other thing you said last week that you haven't done?
I said I'd have social medias and stuff ready.
And what haven't you done, Spike?
I haven't made social medias or anything, right? I don't need you.
Just wanted to commit that to
That's
to the
on the
podcast.
record now. It's on the record.
Bloody useless.
People.
Absolutely
Amateurs.
useless.
Amateurs.
What-
It's
No one wants to
almost
see
as
me
if
tweet.
you'd upload a podcast and not prepare it to be uploaded to multiple platforms.
Now, who
Don't
would
be
do
so
that?
silly. Unimaginable.
Available on wherever you listen to podcasts. Oh, hello. Apple.
So out of curiosity, the episode 1 now has been out. Well, first recording now has been out for 2 days.
Yeah,
Have you guys had any comments thrown your way? Any reactions?
I've not personally.
My mum asks about it.
Well, I specifically had a message given to me by my friend Kelsey. Hi, Kelsey. Kelsey says, "I've never listened to anything more painful than you trying to name the members of the Beatles." Jesus Christ. Cheers for that, Kels.
That's fair enough.
It was a strong way to start.
I agree.
I was listening through it, and I obviously I was editing. I wasn't just listening to my own podcast, but
Yeah, who would do that?
I was listening through it, and I got to that point, and I was like, "This is too good. I'm gonna have to isolate this bit, and put it out as promo."
That's what the kids call a stinger.
When the promo came out, because I said there are 6 sides, and then everyone immediately jumped on Marek, and I was like, I was for ages like, what in God's name was I going to say?
Yeah, that's one of the
You were
funniest
talking
parts
about
of
the
that clip.
6 sides to George Harrison's
Oh,
LP,
yeah.
but you just kept interrupting. No, we
I kept
just
getting
kept interrupting you.
Yeah,
Just got stopped by
great.
Marek not knowing the Beatles.
yeah. You almost let him get away with it because he goes, "Who's George Harrison?" And you go, "Did you know that there's 6 sides?" And then we're like,
sides.
"Whoa,
Wait,
whoa, hold on, hold
wait."
on." He almost gets away with it.
The world was worse off for it. The podcast was better for it.
Yeah. What are we up to now?
Talking about what album we're going to be talking about
Are
over
we?
the course
Are we
of
on
this
to that?
podcast.
Yeah,
Alright,
we are.
sound. Well, this week is Marek's pick, so I'll let you take it away, Marek.
It is Every Time I Die's album, Low Teens.
What do we reckon the peak position of that was on Billboard?
Oh, straight into it. I have no fucking clue.
I wouldn't have
Are
guessed
we
this.
specific?
I
Is it
can't
rock
imagine.
charts,
I
or-
I don't know. It just
It-
says
I
a position
doubt,
on Billboard.
Well, I doubt it's going to be a top 40. Let's be fair.
It was just on Billboard of October of 2016. I can tell you it was there for a week.
I'm going to go at number 32.
I don't know how many it's out for because isn't the Billboard Top 200 a thing?
This
I'm
is
pretty
Billboard
sure.
200.
Oh, okay. 32 is quite high. Did you say 32?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought I was lowballing it, to be honest. But
I don't know. I was googling them and I think they've had a few albums out up until
Oh, yeah.
Low Teens.
They've been going since
I'd never-
1998.
Yeah.
Mad.
They're an old band.
That
I'd
is
never heard
impressive,
of
to
them
be fair.
until this point.
So
No,
actually, that's a lie. I had.
I'm gonna go 50.
You said 32, you said 50?
Mm-hmm.
Then I will go lower again. Then I'm gonna say 75 just to sort of bridge the gap.
So the closest to a win we have is Dan. It was 23.
Oh,
yeah,
my
fair
boys.
dues.
It was
My
there for a
boys.
week.
Go on,
That was a
boys.
week on the charts. So it was 23
Nice.
and then just disappeared.
Fair. That's decent, to be fair. Like,
Mhm.
I'd be happy with that.
Pretty good.
Hell yeah! I mean, again, they've been going for 20 years. I mean,
Yeah.
what a
Mm.
band.
Yeah, they sort of. That surprises me that they've been going for like that long because the album's full of beans. There's a lot of beans.
Full of
You think they're
beans.
just a bit tired by the end of it? Like,
Every time my beans.
Like Metallica's new stuff, since like Death Magnetic has been still Metallica but fairly old.
Some could say that Every Time I Die are Metallica without the drugs.
I don't get it.
It's a lyric on the album. I know. God damn it.
Wow.
Comedy.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm gonna dive right
That's
into
all
it.
interesting stuff, yeah.
Shall we just dive right in with song number 1?
Yeah,
think so.
song number 1. Here's the little stinger of it. So that was Fear and Trembling, first track on the record. Who wants to start us off? Do you want to start, Marek? since
What an
it's your
odd
pick?
way to open an album.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if there's another song I would have picked as an opener.
Oh. All right.
Well,
my only thing is, as much as I do love that riff at the beginning of the song, I think it properly kicks off, obviously, from the "Though It May Haunt Us" line. I think if they just, out of nowhere, just open with that bit,
Mm-hmm.
would
Yeah.
have been way cooler.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, jilty. I mean, maybe it's to make you uncomfortable.
I find that me and Jim listened to this album for the first time on like a 5-hour car journey up
Just
north.
fucking- we hadn't even got out of Cardiff. There was just
Yeah.
traffic, like bumper to bumper, and all I could hear was.
But this song made me very concerned for the album I was about to listen to.
Mhm.
And unfairly so, because we'll get onto it, but I enjoyed the album a lot more than I thought I would.
Mm.
This song was exactly what I didn't want to hear. I found it just slow,
Hmm.
really boring. It doesn't go anywhere. But then over the past couple of days, I've been thinking maybe they did that on purpose to lower my expectations for the rest of the album. And
one
maybe
day
that's
someone's-
why I quite like the rest of the album.
One day someone's going to make a podcast and this is going to throw them right out.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've got it here that on the day that you were stuck in traffic at 1:58 p.m., Jim, listening to this album in this traffic is making me homicidal.
I did find while I was listening to this in preparation for the podcast, everything I was doing a slightly more angry version of it. It's like buying stuff in Tesco's, just like, ah!
Yeah, I was just ramming cars off the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like it could be a decent track in the album, but it's really strangely placed.
I get that.
Mhm.
I think it could be a great change of pace later, maybe during another section of the album, which I'll get onto later on. I think it could work better if it was a bit further down.
I get that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I sort of view this. It sounds dramatic, but I viewed this song as like almost a bit of an ordeal. I listened to it on the way back from work, and I had like a really long day at work, and I was like tired and had a headache. And I put this on, and I was like just not enjoying myself. Like I was really, it was upsetting me. I just feel like it's not particularly melodic, which is where I think some of the high spots of the rest of the album comes in. But I do think that might be the point. Sort of like what Dan said, but more so that it... Because, you mentioned that the subject matter of the album isn't very nice. It's not very comfortable at all. So I think it might be that it's a bit of a tone setter and that it puts you on a bit of an edge.
Definitely, because the way the guitars are sort of playing chords that sort of make you feel a bit like, upsetting the community sort of thing.
Those
Definitely.
damned youths.
It does
The
sound
youths.
like an album written by a load of lads who had Asbos.
Yeah, boy.
But no, I think that does fit the album quite well and sort of lets you know what you're in for. Also, you can edit Wikipedia, right?
Oh, dear.
And I just really want this to be real. In Buffalo, they've been honoured with an annual holiday on December 15th named
correct.
after them.
That is absolutely
No
correct.
way.
What?
Yep.
Is that where that's
That's
where they're
genuine.
from?
That's
Yeah.
real.
Yep, that's a real thing.
Oh
That's
my
mental.
God.
Is it just called Every Time I Die?
Every time I die is a national holiday. Well, national, it's in Buffalo.
Also,
That's
as well,
incredible.
one of my other favorite things about this band is so every time I die, shortened to like ETID, so ETID, and then they've got this little like weekender, I think, and it's called TID the Season. It's like a Christmas event.
Love
That's
it.
quite good.
They are boys.
That's the type of wordplay that lyricists live for.
Over to Spike with the weather.
Uh,
On the note of lyrics, though, it's an album opener. There's nothing too spicy in this one for me,
Yeah.
but I do just like the delivery of the line, especially at the end, the last delivery of it with the "Though it may haunt us and break our hearts, death cannot tear us apart." Love it.
Yeah,
Right?
I remember that
Yeah,
bit now.
well,
definitely sounds like some kid's edgy poetry.
Well, that's the thing, right? So Dan and I were talking before we hit record, and Dan says that as the lyricist, he's surprised that I particularly chose this album because not much lyrically there, kind of thing. But see, it's like he just has a dictionary made of sandpaper. You can quote me on that. It's just very raw, very abrasive.
Yeah. There's a line I'll get to later that I hate.
It just doesn't hold back or try to be flowery
Yeah,
at all, and I vibe
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
get
fair
that.
enough.
But then you don't like Rage Against the Machine.
I don't like Rage Against the Machine. Knowing how last week I got
God,
absolutely
it's happening again.
Oh,
destroyed
Lord.
for the Beatles and
Hey,
Hunky Dory.
Look, I'll be honest. I need a teaser for this episode.
This has just become bait.
Just
Marek
us all
and saying
screaming at
something.
Marek like, what?
Hang on, okay, a moment of silence. We got this. Who are Rage Against the Machine?
Oh, Lord, just baiting the audience.
I like the idea that the Facebook banner is every week going to be Marek hates ... week on week. What does Marek hate this time? No, Rage are just like the riffs. Well, Tom Morello's a person.
Of all the things we
Well,
can
he's
say
not-
about him.
There's so many takes flying out here. I can't even keep track of them all. Tom
Nah,
Morello's a person.
He's a person.
They're just riffs.
Yeah, Nah, it doesn't do any. It doesn't really light a fire in me. I also, and this is particularly spicy and very like specific. I don't like his accent. When the guy's doing his, I couldn't tell you his name. If you want to tell me, is it George Harrison?
Zach. Isn't it like Zach Della Roja?
Something like
I
that.
tell you.
Yeah.
He's got a very is it Brooklyn accent.
Well, they're from
yes.
Buffalo.
No. Oh, that is a band called Every Time I Die.
We're not talking about them anymore. We're talking
Oh,
about.
so I was lost trying to find the
gotta
vocalist.
stop getting lost in your fucking iPad.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking
Last
for.
week you were just obsessed with the 6 sides of the album.
Listen, I'm here to find facts. All right, and a bit of flavour to us.
You said, where did you say he was from? Brooklyn,
He sounds like he's got a Brooklyn-y accent.
the East Coast. He's actually from California, so the complete other side of the country. But you got the
Very
right
different.
country.
There's your teaser for next week.
Yeah.
Marek hates American geography.
Marek just hits America. That's it. I never get a visa, boys.
Yeah, all right, but yeah. So you don't like Rage,
Nope.
but you enjoy this with its raw lyricism. That
It's not that, no, it's not that I dislike Rage Against the Machine on account of raw lyricism. I just don't like his voice.
that's fair
It
enough.
doesn't do anything for me.
Fair enough.
But that he's got them stonking riffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like even if you've got some pretty boring lyrics, as long as the delivery is done in an interesting way, kind of makes up the slack.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think his delivery of his lyricism is really good throughout the whole album.
yeah.
Didn't I think Hendrix said something like, "It doesn't matter if you can't sing as long as you do it with passion," or something like that.
I am riding the coattails of that quote for my entire career.
That's the next Scavenger's album title.
Yeah, but can you tell us who Jimi Hendrix is?
He's one of them woodworkers, isn't it?
Shall we? Have we got much more to say on Fear and Trembling?
I don't really know.
No.
No.
All right. Well, let's move on to track 2 then. The Witches. Yeah. So that's a snippet of Witches.
I'll see you boys in the pit.
Hell yeah.
I think after the first track being such a dud, I very much enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of energy to it.
It comes out strong.
It's got a real like punky vibe, at least instrument wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That feels to me very much like a song that would be better live.
I think
Yeah.
if they could pull that off live, like as tight as it is on the album, which I'm assuming they probably do, because if they've been playing for 20 years, that'd be unbelievable. Because like we were talking about it while we were playing that little bit. The drums are amazing. The whole song overall, it's so like quick. It just doesn't let up as well. Like it goes into like halftime, breakdowns,
Yeah.
a little stuff like that. But so much of it is just like fast paced. Like I wasn't sure what genre to expect because we'd sort of pigeonholed you as a emo boy,
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't know what emo is anymore. But to me, this sounded like thrash metal, and I don't know if you like disagree with that, but that was what I was getting. Like, I was getting a bit of like on a few of these songs. I think this is the most thrash metal-y song
Yeah.
on the album. I think 1977 is close as well, but just the way that it is so just ridiculously fast and ridiculously intense, I was into it.
This is the song that when I'm in Tesco, it makes me want to like spin kick the cheese section.
Why the
Remember that
section?
Late night and
Marek
24
hates
hour.
cheese.
Late night and 24 hour Tesco, and you walk around the corner. There's just some guy spin kicking the cheese section.
Well, it's Cardiff.
Gotta give him all that one warning, like 1, 2, breathe.
Oh my god.
It's a layered joke, boys.
Is it?
Come
So
on.
yeah, we got the new banner. Just Marek hates cheese.
Marek is 24-hour Tesco's.
Yeah.
On the note of lyrics that I think can be made up for in the sense of delivery as well. Something I'm not a fan of. There you go. There's the new banner. Marek hates A rhyming sequences. It's one of the last sections where
this banner's getting more convoluted.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it.
Don't have enough room
So
on the
many
page.
words.
Just really tiny letters you can't even read.
He rhymes lurch, search, dirge, and church, and I'm like,
What's
Oh.
the third word?
it's dirge. Is that like dirge?
Oh yeah, I think you said
Dirge.
dirge. I was
Dirge.
Funeral
Is
dirge.
it dirge? Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
I'd,
a
I'd respect the hustle if he was just making up words to go with an AA rhyming thing.
Just doing a little Wayne or something.
Lil Wayne did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Millionaire.
I'm a millionaire.
Why does Lil Wayne sound like he's from Boston whenever you do?
Because he drinks
Yeah,
syrup and
millionaire.
lean.
Well, like the front man of Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I just think it's a much more fun song to
Oh,
listen
yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
I've got here, I'll be honest, I can't remember what the ending sounds like now, but I've got here, the ending doesn't have enough momentum to make it impactful.
Does it need it? Because the rest of the song is pretty darn impactful.
I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
the
but-
beginning of the next song to see if that
From
compensates.
from what I remember, I just find it sort of, it's like it has this high energy the whole way through, and then you could, because they like drop it at the end, don't they? It's not like a proper like full on thing, but I think that's the issue, is that it's not like they don't go full on with it. And I think if you'd have kept that energy up and then gone for a really like full on ending, it would have been a very nice contrast to the rest of the song. But as it stands, the ending just feels a bit weak compared to the rest of the songs.
Mm.
I, for one, am thankful for the breather.
Get out of the pit for a minute and just breathe.
Not even a minute, mate. It's like, what, 10 seconds?
Yeah. It's right into the wall of death.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's quite funny as well, actually. Last week, obviously, no matter how many complaints we leveled against Hunky Dory, Dan was like, well, I think it's great. So this week, no matter how many complaints you level against this album, I'm sat here like, well, I think it's great.
I only have really... I had a good time listening to it, but the only complaint I really had was I couldn't just sit and listen to it all the way.
Yeah,
I was just kind of depressed, to be honest. I was going out just picking up my groceries, like
we'll get to it more as it goes on, but there was it gets to a point in this album and I'm like, speed it along.
Yeah.
I'd say this is the deluxe. By the way, we are doing the deluxe
doing the
edition.
deluxe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's a lot, but
15 songs.
I think it is.
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
15.
A hefty boy.
It's quite hefty.
But yeah,
Yeah, I sort of, to elaborate on what you're saying, I found that if I did try and listen to this the whole way through, I had to be doing something else. Like,
yeah,
I listened to it while I was like walking around town or whatever. But like, I'd not been that worn out by an album since I tried to listen to like a Slipknot album front to back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're maybe a similar type of band to Slipknot or they match the intensity or anything like that. It might also just because I don't listen to heavy music as much anymore, but I was really like, it does kind of wear you out almost in a sense.
yeah. I can listen through and really enjoy the first 8 tracks
Mhm.
and then skip to like track 12, and then I'm done with it for a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think any of these songs really would fit for me on a playlist.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily in the context of an album, just listening to them as songs. I think
Yeah.
all of these would fit easily,
Mhm.
Yeah,
which is a nice contrast from last week with Hunky Dory that was really built to be an album.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely dying here. My voice is going.
All right, shall we move on?
To the dulcet tones of C++.
I like the title. I like that title.
Mhm.
C++. Good
What a
tune.
chin.
Yeah, no, I think this is the first time when I was listening to the album, I thought, oh, right, yeah, no, I'm really enjoying
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
I get annoyed at myself of how much I like some of these songs, and this is a very enjoyable one. The chorus is great.
Mhm.
The riff's great. The only thing I would say against this track is, much like you with Rage, the vocals in the verses just don't do it for me. I don't know what it is. There's something about the tone of his voice.
See, I quite like the change because obviously with like glitches and everything, it was all quite a lot of the very screamy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it's pretty much been that, and this sort of gives him a bit of a chance to do something a bit different.
I
which quite
like
enjoyed.
I like a lot of his less screamy vocals,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like the chorus in this, like what he does for the chorus, but the verses for some reason I don't know whether it's something about the note that he's hitting. He does like this little slide at the end of the long note, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But it's a very like the rest of the song works so well that I don't really
Mm-hmm.
have too much of an issue with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you mean.
I probably sympathise with him a bit because it's like that section where that riff, the one that they kind of open the song with, where he first starts
Mhm.
singing. It's like I think it might be the best riff on the album. I think.
That's fair, yeah.
I was really trying to figure out which one it was, and I think that one was right up there. And the drums going along with it complements it really nicely. And I think it must be hard to try and sing over that. And I think it does kind of sound like he was like, well, how do I put lyrics over
Yeah,
this? Just
I can sympathise with that.
Yeah.
To be fair,
like unless he's gonna start like sounding like Busta Rhymes or something.
Now
How
that
he's
would have
gonna
been a
do it.
turnaround.
Yeah, that would have been impressive. Just have Busta Rhymes feature on it.
I'd be all about that.
Every time
All
I
about
featuring
that.
Busta Rhymes, I would do all that.
Well, he did Linkin Park feat Busta Rhymes, so natural evolution of it.
Snoop Dogg did a song with some really obscure emo band at one point. I have a weird memory of. This could be another Mandela effect thing going on with me.
Honestly, if Scavengers featuring Snoop Dogg could be a thing, like that would be my career.
Honestly, I've been. There's so many things recently that have been Mandela effect for me. It's really messing me up. Like I have a really
We're now
distinct
a philosophy podcast.
this has been really annoying me. I have a really distinct memory of last year at Reading. Post Malone threw a giant bag of weed in the crowd, and then I was talking to someone who was also there, and they went, "No, I didn't see that."
this podcast does not endorse drug
No,
taking.
not
of
endorsing
any
at all.
sort.
It was Post Malone doing it. I wasn't close enough to get any.
For my
But-
grandmother listening, I'd like to say that I do not partake. My friends are not bad influences. Despite moving to Cardiff, I am still your favourite Christian boy.
But it's been really messing me up because I swear I saw it. Other people have told me they swear it didn't happen.
Well, who cares?
Yeah, fair enough. This isn't the Post Malone podcast, right?
Welcome back to the Little Slice podcast.
Well, Jim's finding this thing. Have
I-
you found it?
Well, I searched Snoop Dogg emo song.
That's going to be in your search history now.
Yeah, surprisingly, not much came up. There was something called My Medicine that apparently features Willie Nelson and Everlast. I think Everlast are a
Might have been Everlast.
rock band, aren't they? But
Yeah.
it says the genre is country rap, so
Then
Country
in that
rap.
case, I could have completely fabricated this.
What album is that off? That might be my next album.
that is off.
A little bit of country rap.
I
Bill.
think it was a single.
God damn it. We can make a 2-hour podcast out of a single rebel.
Well, we do that. We do Old Town Road. We fine.
I'm not going near that song.
Dear
Oh,
Lord.
That's fair.
You know what? People give that song a lot of flack. I think it's quite good.
I don't hate it, but
It's catchy.
I feel like it's not something I want to endorse.
So,
Anyway.
yeah, C++.
Yeah.
There's a bit at the end where it sort of drops and he says, I'm gonna need another universe. I tore mine apart. I know he likes to put like, not necessarily, I use the word comedy here very, very lightly in this sense,
Mhm.
where you like little on the jokey side after a very serious song and a very serious album. I enjoy the way he just drops it to like, I'm gonna need another universe. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
I
like
think-
one of the highlights for me on the record.
That's fair.
Mhm. I like them. There's some harmonies on the. What bit? It's like it's probably is a pre-chorus, possibly. I can't really explain how it is because I can't hum it because it's like the most intricate thing going. But there's some interesting harmonies on it. I think that and It Remembers might be the only two songs with harmonies. I think. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any in Map Change or.
Who needs harmonies when you got fat riffs though, Marek?
Well, it's a strong argument that you're making there. Very good song.
Marek, you may want to stop moving your leg because I can hear your chair squeaking a lot.
Might be mine.
Could also
Whoever's
be mine.
squeaking, mine's definitely squeaking. But I'm just saying,
All the chairs squeak down. This is unavoidable.
Just £2 a week can help fund for new cheers for the Little Slice podcast.
We'll have DX races next
And
week.
for Spike to have a haircut.
He definitely needs one.
So please,
Yeah.
give generously. Oh,
Check
it is
out
my
our
chair.
socials to
It's
see
my
what
chair.
mess I am.
that was it. All right. Anything more on C++? You got anything more to say? You haven't said much. I'm just thinking, like,
I mean,
you chose this album and
no,
you've not
but
said
I
much.
could only say good things about this album.
That's fair
I'm
enough.
more hoping that you're gonna.
I
tear
feel
it apart.
bad because, like, there'll be parts when I'm going in on it a bit.
Yeah,
But when I was editing the podcast for last week, I realised you like didn't
Didn't
go
really
in
fire off
on
too
Hunky
many
Dory
shots.
at all.
Well,
There was a
I mean,
But
few
right now,
times-
he's about to spit some bars on it.
I'm about to spit some bars on Hunky Dory, boys.
It's Marek's
it all.
diss track on David Bowie.
My name is Marek, and I'm here to say,
Hey, David Bowie. The album sucks.
Not the rhyming couplet I would have gone for. Well, we were saying we wanted to get a theme song for this podcast, so I think if I did a diss track for Bowie,
That works.
that could only go down
That's
well.
strong
I feel
opener.
like you should do a diss track for the Beatles as the theme song.
just having no reference to
What's
them
that,
at all.
Yeah.
What's
George
that song?
Harrison. I don't know anything to say about George Harrison.
You know,
And the rest of them.
What's the song where at the end they're like imitating Eminem and they're like flogging?
What, the Beatles?
No, there's a song. There's a song,
like-
and at the end they're making a joke
Pretty
about
sure
Eminem.
that's Yellow
and
Submarine.
No, oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, you know exactly the one because you and I have made jokes about it. At the end of the song, I can't think who it's by. I think it's an Eminem song,
Uh-huh.
or he's on
it's
it.
The guy, he like samples that video of the guy taking the piss out of Eminem, and he's like, with the shenanigans and the ranigans.
Oh,
Yeah, that one.
yes.
That's gonna be my George Harrison rant. Harrison, Bananason, Gramerson.
Just to get us back a little bit, the full title of this song is C++, Love Will Get You Killed.
It is indeed. Let's move
Big
on.
mood. Big mood.
So I'd get that out there.
2
Worth
summers,
noting.
baby. Here we go.
Two summers. Yeah, so that's a little bit of Two Summers. This song's great.
It is good. It's very, it's quite different from the rest of the
Oh,
album.
it's very different. I've been saying all week. This song reminds me of Drench, Highly Suspect,
Mhm.
and a band called Buffalo Fuzz, which are a two-piece
yeah.
American like.
Just
Well, they are from
specifically that
Buffalo.
one song, Perfect Man.
Well, no, the whole that whole album sounds pretty
Like,
Two summers.
reminiscent of this. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good show. I hadn't thought of that.
But
This
yeah,
is the only song that he is just singing on.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
whole album.
It is a nice break, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
To have something a bit more, it's a bit more sort of like, takes it back to a bit more traditional punky, but then throws in a lot of like different genres as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, if the album was fully just the thumping drums, heavy
Mhm.
guitar, it could get quite grating. But
I'd
love
this,
you should just listen to Buffalo Fuzz if that's what you want.
but no, I really enjoyed this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of sort of like blindsided me when I was listening to the album, but
Yeah.
in a very good way.
Yeah, that's a good like analogy or reference to what that opening bit sounds like. It is kind of like really early, like punk stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a riff that just keeps
Yeah.
on going round. I was saying as well while we were listening to that, I spent the whole time I was listening to the song trying to figure out what band it was reminding me of, because it doesn't, if based on my understanding of Every Time I Die, which is the rest of the album, it doesn't sound to me like an Every Time I Die song not in a bad way, because I think it is, like you say, a really, really good change to have. And it is a really good song. And I think, I was just saying, like, Pearl Jam was the closest thing I could come to, in the sense that I don't even really know why. Like, I think it's got harmonies that I can just imagine Eddie Vedder doing, and then it's just kind of like this sort of chugging.
So did you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
I didn't fart, boys. It just everything came up the gullet.
Oh, I thought he was.
I did a really
I
weird
didn't
whistling
know
noise.
what you were doing, but you just made a really strange face.
Oh,
Can you please just like on the edit, just like really crank up his mic for like
Yeah.
one moment?
it literally? Because I'm just going through like a what's that 1.5 liter bottle of Dr
It's
Pepper,
2 litre.
That's
2
two,
litre.
yeah. Come
and
on.
all the gas just went out. I was like, oh,
You just
shit.
look so scared.
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone heard it, if it came through. Like it was just this weird high pitched.
I just thought you didn't know who Pearl Jam was.
Yeah, I was like,
Well,
I
to be
said
fair,
Eddie
you said
Vedder.
Eddie Vedder. I was like, nope, no idea, not a clue.
All right,
That's
let's
a
not
bit
get
more
into it.
forgivable,
Yeah.
but-
I do see what you mean with the Pearl Jam sort of analogy. It does sort of
Mhm.
have that Bobby Head sort of.
Yeah, it's kind
Feel
of
to
they're
it.
quite like a. It's almost groovy, grunge,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
this has a lot of like, for want of a better word, like swagger to it in the sense that it just kind of rolls through each different section, and then it also has cowbell.
More cowbell. I got a fever. I can't do this every
And
episode.
the only prescription.
More cowbell.
We're gonna run through the entire SNL sketch right now.
Don't tempt me. I think I had a point and it's just jumped right out of my head.
Probably to do with cowbell.
Cowbell. Just the second I hear that word, everything else just goes. It was. Oh yeah, this song sort of is another one that I can imagine live has that really sort of big feel to it.
Mhm.
You can imagine all the crowd jumping up and enjoying that. Less pits, more just like grooving to it.
I think that's the thing.
I
as
think
well,
there'd be pits in this song.
Oh, yeah, people are
God,
going to pit for anything. I watch people pit to Joji.
Yeah.
That was the worst pit I've ever seen in my whole life.
It's a slow dancing in the dark, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, there was one in Slow Dancing in the Dark that was really good. Like,
I'd pit to that. Yeah, this song is like it's got as much energy as the album before it, but it's a different type of energy. Like it's
Yeah.
leather jacket on, shades on, bloody,
sort of old school rocker
yeah,
sort of thing.
proper
Mhm.
cool. Big fan.
Yeah.
Also really enjoy, again on the note of like specific lyrics. He has a the weird I get my nerve. Oh, I thought you'd never ask. Oh, that's a cool line. I like that.
That is quite nice, actually. It's got
Yeah.
that bravado that you need.
I don't know what more there is to say. It's just a really cool song.
If I had to recommend any song from the album, it would
Yeah.
either be C++ or this.
We've not
That's
yet
fair.
started ranking where
Oh,
we put
yeah.
them
Oh,
on
Marek, do you want to do
rankings.
your
Instagram.
rankings?
Yeah.
Absolutely do.
Yeah, sorry. we've just completely glossed
I-
over
I-
that, haven't we?
I
Wow.
really wasn't sure if we were going to do that every week, but we can.
Do you want me to do it? Because you've got a lot of things open there,
I
Spike.
have two things open.
You've got a lot of things open
You know,
there.
you know what? Fine. Take my one thing away from me.
Hey, you literally just said you've got two things open.
You've got me there.
I'll give you a third thing. You can tell us how many sides George Harrison's album's got.
For the record, though, isn't one of those things an episode of The Simpsons?
That technically that is behind the
Yeah,
Wikipedia
okay,
page for
okay.
every time I die.
Busted.
I'm just rewatching the golden era of
No,
The
not
Simpsons.
Busted.
It's great.
The Simpsons.
God. I think it's almost insulting how this song has like 3 songs worth of riffs. Like that opening one that's like the sort of old school punk vibe, then the first slow one, and then the second slow one with the cowbell bit in it. It's just like it just doesn't stop. It just keeps on coming with like new interesting stuff throughout the whole thing. It's really fun to listen to.
and it's just so cool.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is
really,
really,
it is
cool.
cool.
song.
Takes a lot of balls to pull something like that off, I think. Especially because like they're not a band that has like bravado. Do you know what I mean? Like they have a lot of anger,
Yeah.
but they're not like, so like a band like Royal Blood has more bravado than is probably legally allowed.
Spicy take.
But and I say that with love because I do love Royal Blood. But
Yeah, good.
it's just a class tune. There's not really anything else that needs to be said about it.
Yeah. All right. So what have we got so far?
So far we got Fear and Trembling.
Fear and Trembling. So we got out of 15 to play with, yeah?
Yeah.
I reckon Fear and Trembling is going to be probably around like the 13, 14 mark, to be
Oh,
honest.
I had 13 ready, so I'll put it on 13 for
Yeah,
now.
try on 13, yeah.
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
Sounds
Well,
good.
it all moves about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
to be
by the
fair.
way is really annoying to fix on those. So have fun with that.
Okay. So
Then you got
Fear and
Glitches?
Trembling. Yeah.
I quite like Glitches. I'm going to chuck that one. Actually, I'm going to chuck it at 6 for now, just because I know I got the top 5 for extra spicy boys.
Okay.
2 Summers. Actually, no, sorry, C++
C++.
next. C++, I will put at Number 10.
Really?
I thought you'd have that higher.
Don't know.
2 Summers I'm going to put at number 2.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. I'll
Agreed.
yeah.
Number 2 Summers, am I right, boys?
Hey-oh.
No, not right.
You're very wrong.
I'd like to announce my official resignation and departure from the Little Slice podcast.
It's too much.
Didn't that happen last week?
Probably.
Marek's just going to quit every week. Marek hates the Little Slice podcast.
That's the final episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Bit
well,
weird having the final episode 2 in, isn't it?
A little fun fact about the album. Well, it's not really about the album. It's about the band. In September of 2017, Daniel Davidson parted ways with the band, citing exhaustion from touring. He was replaced by Clayton Goose Hollyoak.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis left back. He'd been in it for ages.
Well, you know, he did leave, quit acting and become a cobbler for a bit. So
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
If I remember rightly, though, Every Time I Die have been really bad for retaining members. I'm sure their bassist and drummer is constantly stopping.
Reading through this, there's been a lot of people leaving.
Mm.
But I'm always a fan of hearing somebody with a nickname in music. So Goose, I think is quite nice. It's
Yeah.
like Top Gun.
So currently we have on Marek's ranking 2 Summers at number 2, Glitches at number 6, C++ at number 10, and Fear and Trembling at number 13.
Okay. So
Okay, so
Awful lot.
Spike, and I'm here to say you didn't start recording, did
Stop
you?
it! Stop doing that.
It's the best. It cracks me up every single time.
Oh god.
I love E.T. in a major way.
So Awful Lot is a song.
Ooh, you say that like you're not a fan. Hot take time.
It's got some nice riffs in there,
Mm.
as Jim said while we were not recording. It's got some nice guitar tones.
Mm. Some chunky guitar tones, mate.
What we were saying about the riffs is you sort of have to pull that sort of gritty face when you just hear it.
Stink face.
Yeah.
You
Well-
smell something that doesn't smell too good.
That ain't Teen Spirit, boys.
I find the intro outstays its welcome a bit.
I feel that way about you on this podcast, Dan.
Oh,
You know what? That's fair enough. But if you want to edit it, that's fine.
Nope, I leave that to you.
checkmate.
I've got down here. I feel like it could be taken off the album, and I wouldn't really care.
No way.
No, I disagree with that.
I'm not. Yeah, all right. Let me say my stuff.
No, I need you to know now.
To me, it doesn't have much outside of the riff. Even though I do really enjoy the riff.
And that's the dun 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 dun. Or is that the chorus riff?
I think all the riffs in it are decent,
Yeah,
but
just
doesn't-
aside from that.
it's not much going on for me
Okay.
outside of that. And the worst part about this line, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself there.
Oh.
The worst part about this song is the line,
Oh, don't say it.
"We had such promise,
Okay.
but then we broke our promises," which he insists on repeating
Yeah.
multiple times, and it makes me cringe.
Fair.
Because
Chorus promises.
I just find that it's someone who's gone, and I know exactly what it is because I used to do it myself when I started writing lyrics.
Mhm.
Is he's gone, promise and promises. We had such promise, but then we broke our promises. And he thinks it's really cool. He thinks it's the coolest thing anyone's ever heard, so he has to repeat it 4 times.
I think you're going a bit too deep on it. I think it just sort of worked and you just stuck with it.
Now, as someone who has been in that position multiple times, that is exactly what went through his head, and I can
Waxwork
guarantee
wings.
it. Look,
Won't work forever.
that line gets repeated 3 times,
Yeah.
and I love it. That's why I did it. So
I-
I know exactly what he's doing.
I don't want to do this to you, but it is a really good lyric. I like it.
Oh, nah, I'm on Dan's side on this one. I think he could have put that in and replaced it with possibly any other lyric from this
Mhm.
song, just going off the top of my head,
Yeah.
and I think it would have been better.
I would say it isn't. I don't think it's worth repeating, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad
That's my
line.
issue with it. I think
By any
it's
means.
inoffensive until he makes it like the centerpiece of the
Yeah,
ending of the
that's my
song.
main issue with it, is that he does it. Because if he'd said it once, I'd be like, all right, I'm not a massive fan of that line, but it's just like any other line in the song. But the fact that he fixates on it tells me that he's gone,
I like that.
people need to like know that I figured this line out.
Yeah.
He had such lyrics until he wrote more lyricses.
Lyrics is. You Gollum or
That's
something.
what it feels like.
That's what fucking
You just
Gollum
experienced it right then.
Filthy lyricses. No, I'm with you, Dan. I think it's not a world changing lyric. I'm not going to get it tattooed on my body, but it's inoffensive for me. However, the highlight lyric in this entire song is just boldly stating, "Acknowledge me, you motherfuckers." Yes.
That's how I feel when I message our flat chat saying, "Does anyone need anything from the shops?" And you both ignore me. No one's answering my calls.
That's how I feel when I share the podcast.
Hey, you're valid.
Also, as well,
Now give us a stat.
the other lyric I'd point out in this song is, "We used to talk to God with acid on our tongues." How fucking edgy! But I
The
love
edge
it.
on that.
Oh, I love it. The
Put
edge on
yourself
that
on the
is
edge
just
on
enough to break our promises.
Nice.
Cut yourself on that edge.
Oh man.
I was.
The fuck is that?
Sorry, that's my dishwasher.
This is a
professional
Go on, you first.
It's just such a good joke. We had to say it twice.
This is
Yeah.
the issues you have with open plan.
Open plan, also known as everything that you need is in this room. You'll never leave.
An open plan for Open Dan.
Nice.
Huh.
Promises.
He's like, that's a better lyric than Promises and Promises.
Alright.
Cut to the
Scone
elevator
time.
music.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's scone time.
I wrote down in my notes best guitar tone on the album. I don't know why I feel like I need to come up with a best blank on the album. C++ has the best riff. This has the best guitar tone. It's that one. It's like dun 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 dun, which is exactly how it sounds.
It is.
It's
You've got the tone perfect there.
For a moment, I thought we were actually listening to the song. I
Yeah.
I feel like we need a little awards show at the end for all your top picks of the album.
Yeah.
Also, the piano outro.
Oh
My
yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That is so spooky in a really good way.
Also, the song just kind of cuts to it.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that.
It's very eerie, very haunting.
It's like hitting a brick wall. It just like stops.
But in a pleasant way.
A pleasant hitting of a
A
brick,
brick
wall.
wall of beautiful piano playing.
I'm going to chuck this on my list at number 5, please,
Number
Daniel.
5, okay.
It deserves top 5. definitely.
While I'm putting this on the list, does anybody want a scone?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Let's hand over to the viewers. It's scone or scone. Spike
Wait, you
hates
call it
scones.
scone?
Thank you.
Scone.
Would anyone like this scone?
Ignore the
Go on, Marek.
ignore the northern heathens.
You've gone to the trouble of making them, so I'll have a
Oh,
scone.
fresh made. Nice. Yeah, hit me.
Because you haven't gone
You want
to
me to
the
hit you?
trouble of making scones, you've gone to the trouble of making a scones.
No, you haven't.
I'll have you know, I've gone through the trouble.
Right.
I'm going
I just realized
through
we're having this discussion. We're going to put on another song from this album and just start spin kicking each other. Right. Should we pause for scones?
Yeah, let's pause for scones, and while we eat scones, you guys can listen to the
Dulcet
beautiful...
tones.
The
What
best
is it
name
with you
song.
and dulcet tones?
I like dulcet tones.
The best name song on the album.
Scone with the wind.
Oh,
Yeah, this is...
I don't want to join your stupid cult.
No, it's not. I didn't want to join
I didn't-
your
oh.
stupid cult.
Anyway, doesn't it say at the
Yeah.
I
end?
don't want to join your stupid cult
you're
anyway.
right.
You're right.
You're
This is like a Fallout Boy album.
There's another one on here that's just as long.
All right, well, here's that song. Yeah, I didn't want to join your stupid cult anyway.
Indeed.
Lucky for you, I didn't invite you to.
Oh, man. So yeah, that's,
Anyone got any hot takes on this one?
I wouldn't say
My
it.
favorite song on the album.
Hot.
Wait, no, second favorite.
Really?
Sorry, go on. Yeah, second favorite song on the album.
Genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Really like it.
I really enjoy the energy of it, which is like what I seem to be saying for most of the tracks on this album.
It's a very high energy album.
Because I know nothing about this music. Yeah, it's a good energy. I think the halftime bit sounds chunky.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
does.
Fan of that bit. Other than that, I've not got a lot to say on the track, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's not loads going on. There doesn't need to be loads going on. It's just
No, it
fun
sits in the album about the right place, I think.
Yeah.
Sort of gives you the sort of jump up bit with the halftime and then sort of breaks down at the end, which is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
As is very typical of this band, it's very balls to the wall all the way through in
Mhm.
its
Yeah.
own way.
Yeah.
It's one of my least favorite on the albums, I'm going to say.
Oh.
Lyrically, it's just not much there for me. It's still
fair enough.
cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Even if I put this, I'd probably put this like number 12, maybe, or something like that. It's still like I still love the whole album.
Any highlights lyrically for you?
That's a very good question. No, to be honest, I don't think so. It's just nice. Nice is
nice.
maybe the wrong word to
Yeah.
use considering the style of the song. Yeah, it's cool. So if I do quite like the, especially the delivery of the "I'm hardwired to short out." It's just hardwired, and it stops. I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, there's nothing. I don't. In the same way that you didn't like the "We Had Such Promise," I
Mhm.
don't like the "Drink up, drink up, drink up,
Yeah.
drink up, drink up, drink up." But it's inoffensive.
See, when I heard this song, I thought the bit where he starts going, "We're gonna get carried away." I was like, "That's got Marek all over it," that. Because I think there's a bit of like a double meaning to it. Is it like we're gonna get carried away, as in we're gonna get
Carried away.
aggy, or we're gonna get carried away, as in
We're gonna get carried away.
by a wave or by a tsunami or something like that? You know, levels. Very,
Oh, this is
very
getting
smart.
profound.
It's a pretty deep song.
I also enjoy the difference you put between a wave and a tsunami.
Yeah, different types of waves. You know, I know a few different types of waves.
You can surf that one, and that one will kill you.
Yeah.
They are the two things this song can be about.
Waves
Tsunamis
and
and
tsunamis.
Yeah.
Different but the same.
I think this is the best instrumental track in terms of the musicianship. I think this is the best instrumental on the album for me personally. I think it shows a bit more like I googled them, and Wikipedia, which is obviously a really fountain of valid knowledge, called this band hardcore punk.
That has been described as metalcore, hardcore punk, and
Yes.
post-hardcore.
And I think the post-hardcore bit especially comes through in that breakdown. You know, the one that's got like the it's like that sort of hallmark of post-hardcore where you have a really heavy, chuggy, maybe even genty riff with the double bass drum, double kick pedal going. You know, in time with it. It just worked for me. I think it's something that's not really. I couldn't think of it really being on the rest of the album. You know, like a proper like breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, of that variety, if you want to call it that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just one where it caught my ear every time going through the album as something where I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fun." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair play.
I enjoy the delivery of the core or the not joining a cult line, especially because it sounds
Yeah.
like. I mean, obviously he might not have, but it sounds like he just recorded all those lines in one take, all the way through, straight through. Because he sounds very
Hoarse. by the
fucking
end of it.
knackered by the
Yeah.
end of it. Like
That last scream
Yeah.
is really like impressive. as
you can
well.
hear the effort behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so I do
He's
like that.
Fuming.
Oh, fuming anyways.
He's tamping.
Also, as well, on the note of him being like metalcore, you guys might agree in your own genres, but I find like metalcore specifically, I can only find like I don't like this genre as a general rule, but I know this band, I like this band. Don't need to listen to anything else. It all sounds a different shade of the same.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with that. I think there's some bands that do it better than others. There's some bands that sort of set themselves apart. You know, when I used to listen to that type of music, set themselves apart by having the ability to do other things as well. I think, but it is like you say. I think once you've heard one breakdown, you've heard 90% of breakdowns.
Well,
that
the
you're
only
gonna
two
hear.
ingredients you need for a breakdown is a 0 and a 1, isn't it? So I mean,
Oh, I get it. Yeah. That's a guitar joke, right?
The drummers are like, wait, what?
Where's the 1 and where's the 0 on that?
I'm pretty proud of that one, to be honest, boys.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you had it at number 12.
Yeah, I probably put it like.
All right, man.
It's good. It's just not.
Not quite calling.
It's not calm. my friend.
I'm not writing that.
I don't. Carling was the sponsor at Reading, and warm Carling the entire time was gross.
I
That's
mean, Carling in general is not nice.
And there goes the Carling sponsorship.
Sorry,
Damn it.
Carling.
Colin is the first drink that I tried to drink. It was at the like end of high school, after you have your prom or ROA as we called it, record of achievement, because we had to be different. We went to a field and I attempted to drink. I think I took like 2 cans of Carlin, drank half of one, and was like, "This is terrible. Like, why would I not just have a can of Coke or something?" And then sat there feeling sorry for myself.
You and I had a very different experience after prom.
I can imagine that to be the case.
Without implicating my family in like child neglect.
Oh,
pretty
God.
sure-
Here we go.
I'm pretty sure the first time I got drunk was I was like 10 years old off red wine. A whole lot of red wine.
No, to be fair, I was drinking red wine when I was young, but I put some water in it so I could drink it with my family.
That sounds awful.
It's not great, but I was a child.
Your mixer was water.
It was red wine to water it down. This is something they do in France.
Fair.
And my parents think they're cultural. They listen to this, so thank you for that. You've
Because I briefly met your family at graduation day.
You did.
And you guys were lovely, but if you come at me with red wine and water, we done. We out of here.
You are not someone who I would imagine would want to water down their alcohol.
I'm being very called out here, and I don't appreciate it. Well, that's like
Coming
my
at you from
experience
all
with after
sides.
prom was stealing all of somebody else's Carling.
Decent. Decent.
All
Right.
Shall we move on?
So the next song is "It Remembers."
All right, here we go. I was quite annoyed with myself after listening to this song, right? Because I wanted to come into this podcast and be like, my favourite song was the most vocal damaging, heavy shit piece of music on the album, just to like be all controversial. But this is my favourite one on the album, and it happens to be the one with Brendan Urie on it.
I told you like
that
it.
pisses me off because right, I don't like Brendan Urie on this track.
Fair.
I think Keith Buckley's vocals are fucking stellar on this track,
This
and I wish he'd sung it all.
was the song where, because obviously listened to it for the first time for the podcast, when that first riff hit, I was like, "Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay, okay." Such a nice riff.
This is the one song off this album I will be adding to my playlist.
Very nice. I think that is like you were saying about like my favorite parts off the record. That riff is the top, like my favorite riff on the whole album.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just another one of those songs, just like Two Summers, that sort of deviates away from how the rest of the album sounds, and I love it. I think it sounds great. Also, it has like the ending that you never really hear on live on albums anymore. You normally only get it live when they sort of they're all playing the last bit, building up to a big end, which I really think was just really fun.
Yeah, that's definitely something a bit different. I think it sort of plays into the fact that it's like you say, there's a few songs on this album where you can see them being really good to listen to live. I think this one would be up there. You can imagine Brendan Urie popping out and singing higher than everyone else. Just popping out.
Hi.
Doing his normal thing of singing really high. There's one lyric that he sings. It's that like dead drawn out one. I don't know what the words are. Like
Burn slow.
yeah, and he sings that really really high because he's Brendan Urie. So what else is he gonna do?
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I do like this song a lot. I think there's definitely ones I prefer. I think if I wanted this type of song, I would look elsewhere. Maybe other bands. I couldn't really name any off the top of my head, I don't think. But definitely, I think, because it is a bit of a departure, certainly from some of the other songs on the album. But again, that's never really a bad thing as long as it's done in moderation. If it just went like all over the place to loads of different ends of the spectrum, then it wouldn't be very good. But because there's just a few where they kind of show that they've got a bit of versatility, definitely is a welcome addition.
Yeah.
This song was sort of like an Every Time I Die gateway drug, if you will. This was the very, very first, I think, categorically say it was the very first Every Time I Die song I heard. Considering that this album came out in 2016, I want to say? 2015. And I'd cite Keith Buckley as one of my biggest influences.
No,
I
2016.
can hear it.
Well,
Yeah,
the deluxe edition came out in 2016 at least.
Right, okay. So considering this song hasn't been out relatively that long, to be able to say like he's one of my biggest influences, I stumbled on this song because it came up on my YouTube recommended, and I was like, it's got Brendan Urie in it. I know him. And my god, that riff just...
Yeah.
The last time a song blew my mind like that was Fight Stars Sink with the Snakes. And then I ended up catching them at... Not Fight Stars, Every Time I Die. Caught them at Slam Dunk 2 years ago. Absolutely stole the show. I thought they were one of the best bands of the day. And then they were one of the bands at 2000 Trees this year. This song went off.
I hate that you went to 2000 Trees.
Did I tell you I met Frank Turner?
Yes, you told me you met Frank Turner.
Dear viewer, you might recall from last week, Spike loves Frank Turner.
Just a bit.
But yeah, that was... Oh, man. So yeah, this song... I think I put Two Summers at number 2.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to take Two Summers down a notch.
That's
This song's
fine.
got to be number 2. I know what my number 1 is. That's like immovable. But
Let's
my God.
let's move something down, doesn't it?
I just said that.
Move 2 summers
I-
down.
I'm not here. My brain is off.
Still in
Spike.
that field in Reading.
Did I mention I met Frank Turner?
Yeah.
I think that is an interesting point you mentioned there. Like, this came up on your YouTube recommended. The first thing you saw was Brendan Urie, and you go, oh, Brendan Urie. Because this is on Every Time I Die's Spotify page. This is their most popular song by about 1 million plays.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
And I was wondering about
Excuse
that.
me.
It's sort of, it's. I was calling it like the Brendan Urie effect, and I think that's harsh because I think it's a good enough song that it very well could have been the most listened to song on Spotify for them, even if they didn't announce that Brendan Urie was on it, or even if he wasn't on it and it was just Keith Buckley singing. So I think this song is probably the most likely to be like a mainstream, or to have success in the mainstream before you add Brendan Urie into it, and then that kind of helps that even further. I think it's still a really good song, but I found it interesting that was the one that was above things like Map Change. Or,
I guess that's the whole point in getting having
name
a
like that
collaboration with someone who's that much bigger than you.
But at the same time, I think that's why it's also quite a fascinating choice. I mean, look at Panic's most recent album.
Oh yeah.
That is a world and a half away from
Would
Every
this
Time
have
I
been
Die.
Just after Too Weird to Live.
Ooh, yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Was this not the single from the album?
Yeah.
I think it's probably the right decision to have this be the single,
Are you sure?
if it is.
I
There's
think
no
I
way
think it
this
might have been
isn't.
C++.
Really?
It
I
was,
mean, that's a
it
good
remembers. It was Map Change, and it might have been C++ too.
Because I'm trying to find Billboard on this song
Plus
because
plus
I'm
two.
trying to think how well did this do. But
Mm.
okay, so Billboard's just given me Every Time I Die fan claims guitarist saved her life by spitting beer in her eye.
Huh.
Well, we've all been there.
Yep, yeah.
We don't need to.
Also, I'm pretty sure that recently someone tried to sue Every Time I Die because during supposedly, I think Keith Buckley came out and was like, "This didn't happen," but supposedly during one of their gigs, the crowd was very rowdy, and I think one of the amps fell off the stage and broke this woman's foot. So she tried to sue them.
yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah,
That's
And-
bizarre.
I'm
Why is
sure
an
they were
amp
like
that close to the edge of a
I
stage?
probably wasn't.
Yeah,
True.
and
Unless
therein lies
it's
the
a
drama.
monitor or something. But like even then,
Mm.
like,
I find that hard to
how's it
believe.
going to land just on her foot.
Yeah.
One man mosh pit.
How'd a foot get underneath the barrier?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't they have had like some space between the barrier?
Yeah.
Almost certainly.
The
Especially
band.
if they're expecting like crowd surfers, which
There's,
I can
there's
imagine.
a lot of holes in this woman's story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes in her foot.
It's a big amp-shaped one.
For a whole amp-shaped hole, that is one big foot that girl got.
Listen, we don't know the facts here.
No wonder
Yeah.
the amp hit it.
This is all speculation.
Yeah, so
It remembers.
it remembers. Great song.
Yeah.
Bang.
Moving on next to Petal.
I feel like I say it like it doesn't have the right oomph to it.
I think it's
when
one
I
of the
say
more
petal, you know.
Petal. It's
Petal.
You're not saying the T's.
Petal.
So if I say it,
Maybe not like that.
I mean, that's fair.
I think that's pretty much it.
It's the guy from Nickelback.
Petal.
Yeah.
That's James.
That's
Hetfield.
James
Metallica.
Hetfield, yeah.
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 I think this song has a good energy, and I didn't read into what it's about, so that's about as much as I'm going to say.
Well, I googled it, and apparently the coin has to say, "A weak man cannot plead his case with a hungry animal."
That's
That's a different song, my friend.
song.
What?
That is the next one.
So it is.
We're on Petal.
Petal is there are no answers in hell.
All right,
That's the one.
great.
That doesn't help me in
Yeah.
the slightest.
I can't remember exactly, but the thing about this album, and I think specifically this song, I watched an interview with Keith Buckley, and he said basically there's something going. I don't want to say anything too certain because I can't remember, and it's a very personal matter. But it's something like he was in hospital with his wife because she was going through a rough pregnancy, and it was a very dark time for them both, a very difficult time. And I'm pretty sure Petal is the most like the closest to that world that this album touches. So it's quite a heavy song lyrically in that regard.
Yeah, it sounded pretty. Like, I couldn't make out what he was saying.
I was
but
like, can you
it
give us
sounded
some highlights?
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
Some highlights. I tell you that the intro is one of the most edgiest emo intros I've come across, where it's gone black, sky is black, earth black, moon black, snow black, eyes black, light black, leads. Just everything's black.
That
I don't
sounds
want to
like a
laugh at
parody.
such a sensitive topic, but my
Yeah.
God, man.
That genuinely
Lighten
sounds
the
like a
fuck
parody.
Yeah, it does.
It's a parody of an emo song.
But the
Yeah.
thought of death is soft and clean and beautiful and white.
Oh my god.
It's the purest of the drugs.
Oh my lord.
It's a weird. 'Cause it's kind of funny because it's like, oh, that's very try hard emo, but
yeah.
love it.
I think it definitely sounds like it could be. You could look at that and be like, oh, he's just trying to be as edgy as he can. But when it is, I suppose, inspired by the subject matter that it's inspired by, it has a lot more legitimacy to it. You can kind of imagine that would probably be the sort of state of mind you'd be in if you're having to deal with something like that, a situation like that.
Yeah, I guess at that point you wouldn't be thinking, I need to make this more subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be trying to think of like punchlines.
Yeah, it
to
kind of
like
goes
your
out the window.
lyrics. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing, because Keith Buckley, like generally speaking, historically speaking, I guess, has always been quite witty and quite funny, and always puts my favorite being a lyric that goes, "Hey there, girls, I'm a cunt." Love it.
Very
Great.
witty.
Very direct, very honest.
Yeah.
Razor sharp.
This song is not at all. It's a world and a half and a half and a half away. So 2.5 worlds, if you will.
Quick maths. That's
2.5
an old meme.
worlds. Comedy Central sketch. Worlds.
Oh, Jesus.
Some things are getting cut out today.
That was about,
yeah, I
that was
get
about
that.
7 references in the space of 5 seconds.
Witty.
And pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beef out when you said.
I think this was the part in the album, definitely the first time I listened through it when we were in the car in that traffic, and also any time that I listened to it and was not like really in the mood, where I would start to struggle with like the length and the intensity of the album overall.
I think instrumentally, for me at least, this one sort of kind of fades into the background because there's a lot of songs kind of doesn't really stand out instrumentally to me.
Yeah.
See, I get to that point in the next song.
Yeah.
I'll mention that then. But
Mhm.
I like this one coming after It Remembers.
As a change of pace.
It's quite a nice way to sort of get you back into it. But then I feel like they sort of drag that on for a bit too long for the next few songs. And I feel that that's where it becomes an issue. I think if it went to this and then went to maybe one more like this and then
maybe something like
a
Fear
bit
and
different.
Trembling.
Yeah.
Moving that in.
Yeah, that would break this section of the album off a lot for me.
I think I definitely agree with what you're saying when you say it's a change of pace, because it is a massive change of pace from It Remembers. I think if it maybe slowed down a little bit within the song, within this specific song, within Petal, I think I would be absolutely fine with it. It's just that it because when it hits like that opening like 4 notes and then it just goes right into it, I think is really effective. But then I think it just kind of stays on that, and then you say, when it goes to the next song, it just carries on and keeps going.
I think this is like a sobering point in the album as far as like the track listing and the genre and stuff, because like up until this point it's very just for everyone else, that's a metalcore album, it's a metalcore band. Oh, this is It Remembers. Oh, this is a far-flung song, cool. And then just right back in the deep end. Oh no, this is actually a serious band doing serious songs
about very serious things. Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that.
Hefty.
Yeah.
So,
You said about some other songs, like at the start, or this genre in particular, I can't remember specifically, and I can't even remember who said it. Someone said it could be quite a chore almost to listen to.
right.
I think at this song is where it does start to get a bit like a lot of
It's fatigue.
Yeah, you've had the 2 changes, and now at this point it's like, ooh, now you've actually got to like keep going, and there's a whole couple more songs to go. I still love it.
Well, let's get on to those few songs then, isn't
it? Sounds good.
So next one,
The one that I forgot
9.
existed.
The Coin Has Myself.
I just want to say on the point in the last song,
we're recording.
on the point in the last thing Marek was saying about how historically his vocals are, here is a quote from him. "Every time I die," and the lyrics particularly, "have always been very tongue-in-cheek and metaphoric and playful, but they've never been honest, because that would require me to feel something."
What a guy.
You get the sense that he really lives it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's such an edgelord.
As I said, this is where the
Fatigue
album,
sets in.
Yeah, my notes here say fatigue kicks in, nothing to grab onto here, and then just really bored.
Is that one of their lyrics?
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, I just don't get anything out of this track, really.
Yeah.
Something that I always particularly enjoy is like moments of sort of personality, and that sort of like take away from like not just in a song, like hey, there's the personality and the person behind it, and trying to find pieces like that in bands I like. And it's not too obvious, but I really like the way he does the it all drops down and just goes to an amateur set of eyes. Me and the Lord are a lot alike. And it's just that kind of like little vibe. I think that's one of the highlights of this song, and maybe even the second half of this album for me.
That is very. It sounds like something he could like. Personality-wise, that does fit him quite well, I think.
Yeah, the issue for me is that the lyrics have that personality in there, but the song as a whole has no personality to me.
It's all very one-dimensional.
Yeah, and it, even compared to like a lot of the other tracks that are similar to this one on the album, I'd say this one and the next few, I struggle to hear anything different to another band in the genre, but that could just completely be because I'm not overly familiar with the genre
Yeah.
as well.
I would say, I mean, for a 13-track album, say you could take away 3 of those. Like, this is one of the 3 that I'd probably cut away. Like,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I'd say so.
Trim the fat a little bit. So.
yeah.
Mm.
I think this album for me would work really nicely as like a 10-track album.
So we did go with the deluxe. How much does?
Well, the deluxe is 15, but the
15,
regular is
yeah.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 songs. Yeah, I can see.
Looking at a typical Don Broco technology effect. That you could have
Although-
trimmed a lot of the fat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I going onto Don Broco briefly. I've said since that album came out, I wish it was a shorter album. I'm not sure what I'd take off it though, because every time a track comes on from Technology, I'm like, this is a great track.
My heart always says take off something to drink, but then when
I
it comes
love
on, I
Something to
know,
Drink.
right?
Yeah.
That song's great, man.
I just feel like, you know, all the singles they put out for it could have just been an EP and had the
Yeah.
rest of the album as that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I can
Whole
never see
thing.
that.
Yeah. That
What,
would
what were
work.
the singles from Technology? It was,
How long have
the
you got?
first 5 songs.
yeah.
Pretty
Technology.
T-shirt song.
t-shirt song.
Yeah.
Come out to LA.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's another
They are
one.
really good.
Really
to be
good
fair.
song.
Oh,
There's another one
slap.
that I can't think of.
I'm checking my Apple Music
Automatic.
now. boys. Automatic.
no, that's
That's
from
a
the
fun
album
one.
Automatic.
Stay
Oi,
ignorant.
oi.
You are?
Stay ignorant. Also, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that's
Oh
such a
my
good song.
God.
So Technology, Stay Ignorant, T-shirt song, Come Out to LA, Pretty, and Everybody. 6 singles on a 16-track.
Yes.
Oh, and
That's a
Everybody as
10-track
well.
album,
They all
like,
slap as well.
Everybody came out so
so long beforehand.
yeah.
I'm sure that single was out in like 2015, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, like literally years.
Yeah.
Mm.
Couple of years before the album come out. That it just feels a bit unnecessary. Maybe put that. Well, you can't really put that as a on the deluxe, could you? Because you're basically getting people to pay extra money for a song they probably already have. But it just, I think,
It doesn't need to be there then.
no, just yeah,
It
exactly.
can
They've
just be
already
a
got
single. I think
Yeah.
Pretty could have just been a single as
it.
well.
Yeah, like what they did with. They did that with You Wanna Know. I'm pretty sure, didn't they?
Yeah,
We're getting
yeah,
way
they
off
did,
topic, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So now we're doing Don Broco's album. Have we?
yeah.
Where's this going on the list then?
That is a very good question. Lou, I've given you 13, haven't I? 13 second?
Yeah, I've forgotten the name of the track, but I've put Cult in it.
Nice.
I'm not joining your cult.
I don't
didn't want to
join
join
the
a stupid
stupid
cult
cult.
anyway.
Yeah.
Put it just above that one then. One above.
All right. So
The coin has a say, boys.
I can't believe Cult is that low. That's upsetting.
Like I say, I would not. I'm with you. I would not have it that low.
It's not that it's a bad song, boys. It's just it doesn't.
Is it worse than? Well, yeah, it's your list.
Yeah, it's my
Your
list.
list.
I was about to say we didn't go in on Dan.
Yeah.
you are?
Actually, I did a little on Andy Warhol, but I've turned
Yeah,
around
that's
now.
it.
I've turned around.
Your like critique of the Andy Warhol lyrics is pretty funny. It's like Andy walking, Andy something.
Andy tired. Andy take a little snooze.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I
It's
love
so
it.
I thought I
good.
did, but now I fall in love with it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I can categorically say that, especially since that episode has come out, I have removed it from my Apple Music.
Never to be seen again.
I was actually going to. I was looking around. Went up to Liverpool last week and I bought a couple of albums in HMV. I was looking for Low Teens in there because I wanted to purchase it for the podcast, but they didn't have it.
If I can get that on vinyl, my God.
I don't know if they released
even
it on
print it,
vinyl
yeah.
because I did look around.
Right.
Yeah.
Next
So,
up.
Religion of Speed. Or as Dan thinks it is Religion and Speed.
So that was Religion of Speed.
So that was Religion of Speed. Thanks for listening.
We'll try that again.
I'll tell you what, though, quick anecdote regarding that is I did A-level media, and we had to do we had to go out and film like a little short film.
Sorry, just to say, it wasn't recording when we came back in then.
Yeah.
So that's what this anecdote is about, I assume. Because
yes, it
otherwise,
is.
like, they don't know that it wasn't recording.
They were unaware. Well, we said it when it wasn't recording. They should have been listening. It's their own fault. So we took the camera out. We filmed this short film. The issue is as I picked up the camera, I hit record. So then I set up the camera to film, and then hit record, which stopped recording. thought I'd recorded the thing, hit record, so it started recording, but I thought it had stopped. And our film was an amalgamation of us walking from shot to shot with no actual shot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Lovely.
That's
It was
impressive.
art.
All right, so I'll repeat what I've just said, and
So will I.
if you guys can pretend you hadn't heard it.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
What a fresh take,
Yeah.
honestly.
Wow.
I forgot what I said. I'll be honest.
You just
'cause
read your
more of
notes.
the
I had my one note, but I said something before that as well. Oh yeah, I like the intro. It's a nice eerie intro, that acoustic guitar.
Mhm. The bit
And
about the
then
chorus.
The chorus.
Mhm.
I'm getting to it, Joe.
Hey,
All
I'm
right.
just helping you out.
Jesus. The chorus I find starts as a chorus that I could really like, but it never quite fulfills what I would like it to.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your note?
And then my single note is similar to previous.
I think my point was it sort of had quite a old school metal feel to it, sort of like Metallica in their
Mhm.
prime sort of thing that I really enjoyed.
Metallica had a prime.
What?
It was
Marek hates Metallica.
when they had the drugs.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Where
That's
they
a
were all
we
reference
didn't
on
to-
cover
cocaine.
that line, did we? Or
Is that on this song? I don't even know which
that was
song
on
that's on.
the previous
That
one.
was on the previous one, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a line in this album that says something something.
Metallica.
I wish I was.
Oh, no, I'm just gonna get the lyric up.
Go on.
Do. It's on. Kind of saying it.
I think so.
It is not. Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, it is. I can't go back to what I was.
That's it.
Metallica without the drugs. A
Mhm.
faith healer without the plant. There's no home for a hollow man. Oh, boys.
That is good, but I don't really get the Metallica with Metallica.
Yeah, I don't like that line.
Like Metallica. I don't think was stoners. Like they weren't writing like.
Honestly, I don't think they're talking about smoking weed. I think they're talking about like hard drugs,
I guess.
sort of rock star drugs.
even then, like,
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not
How
sure
else do you
why I
think
don't
James
like that
Hetfield
line. I
goes?
just
Yeah.
don't like that line.
Yeah, I feel like there are other bands
I did more
Yeah.
that
drugs.
have more of a reputation
Like
for
Ozzy
drug
Osbourne without the
Yeah.
drugs.
Post
Yeah.
Malone without the drugs.
David Bowie without
Was
the
Post
drugs.
Malone a thing? Like a thing when this album came out? When did Post Malone like blow up?
Nah, that was
Oh no,
a year
Post
or
Malone was
two
way
ago.
later than this.
Yeah,
Post Malone
that's it.
blew up like, well, God, there was White Iverson, which was like his big.
The
song.
way I remember it,
27?
the way I remember how like the time Post Malone blew up was around the same time that Jake Paul was getting into a lot of trouble.
Why why do we have to bring him
No.
into this? This world was nice before we acknowledged him.
The little slice cinematic universe has been tainted. Whilst we were not recording, I said that the chorus in this song is not as big as I wish it was,
Mhm.
which does not make up for how sick I think the lyrics are.
Which
I then
you have to
proceeded
read
to
again.
recite in my dramatic voice. When all I am is a stone that says the name I had and the years that I had been, the quiet depths and the measured steps won't echo like the shriek of riot did. Honestly, I should just be a voiceover guy. I think.
That was
I've got a
really
real
nice.
face for movie voiceovers.
Some ASMR potential.
Hang on, we can do that again.
Oh no
No.
No ASMR.
It's getting cut out if you do it.
Family, my
Don't
family
cut out my,
listen to this.
my
I don't wanna
ASMR
subject them to that.
debut.
Right. So, Religion of Speed. Where is Religion of Speed going on Marek's little list?
It's going at number 14, and everything above moves up one.
I told you, Dan. I told you.
Just like put it at number 15, then press enter, and then delete one above.
Yeah, just cut and paste.
This guy. I had to teach him how to use notes. He's going to cut that out because I'm dragging
It
him.
won't let me cut it. Oh, man.
This is the man who edits our podcast.
You can't operate an iPhone. God help us all.
There we go. Let's paste that there.
I'm trying to think as what's like, cause again, for all its highs and lows, I love this album. I'm trying to think what's going to be track number 15. Like I've got to pick one to make the worst.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I think that's always.
Oh, Religion of Speed. Which I quite like as a title.
Mm-hmm. Something different.
Don't get it.
I don't get it
Yeah.
either, but I don't
Not
think
sure
I
what
need
any
to.
of the lyrics
It's
mean.
not my place to get it. Yeah.
It's just a fun little title to
Yeah.
read.
Okay, so the next one is
Just as real, but not as brightly lit.
On the note of the title, though, maybe he's trying to tell us that like he's a furry and he's in love with Sonic.
Yep. Okay, here's the song.
Are we actually recording this time?
We are recording.
Sibilance.
Just as real, but not as brightly lit.
lit.
I have massive issue with how the title of this is written on Apple Music.
Oh,
Hey,
So-
Spotify.
I see exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean.
So, yeah, it's a lowercase a for the first as, a lowercase b for the but then the second as is uppercase.
That is
Hey, boys.
upsetting to me on
Hey,
so many
boys.
levels.
Hey boys, Dan just said butt.
Twice.
Oh, we'd lower the tone.
All right.
Alright, podcast's over. Everyone go home.
This has been a fun journey, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to see if it does that on Spotify.
It does not.
The superior
I
music
can see
streaming
it.
platform.
I can see it, and it's
Sponsor me,
stressing out that it
Spotify.
doesn't.
It's fine. Spotify works.
Mm-hmm.
There are two lyrics in this that I love, but the first one is very. Now we write our names on the moon in blood.
Huh.
Oh boy.
Who hasn't written their name in the moon?
I mean, I take
on the moon in
I
blood.
take girls on first dates to do that.
Exactly.
You know, after a night of heavy drinking, I wake up and I'm looking up at the moon like, again.
You have to go up there and scrub that.
And I was on the shoulders of leviathans. Whoa.
I quite like that
To be
one.
honest,
actually.
any use of the word
Leviathans.
leviathan,
Yeah.
I just love it.
That's good going.
Any reference to ancient mythology gets me going.
It gets me going.
Revs my engine, that does, lads.
Really revs my engine.
Cyclops.
Some of the riffs in this song are chunky boys.
Yeah.
They are hefty.
Yeah.
This is easily up in like the top half of my list. I'm not sure what number exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
What did I say had the best? I said C++ had the best riff, but this has two that are almost as good at it as it.
Just as good, but not as brightly lit.
You could say that if you wanted to. I won't.
Why would you?
I had a point about this song. Oh yeah, I had two nerdy drum points. First one is the intro for this is really, really cool, and I was really chuffed when I heard it because he basically does this. It's like a fill for the first about 15 seconds of the song, but he has. I'm not very good at explaining what I mean when I'm talking about drums, but he plays the snare and the hi-hat at the same time. It's like like that, and then just this fill, and then he like offsets it so the snare goes one beat like behind the hi-hat. It's like, and it's just really cool the way that he does that, and I think that's the little things that I think drummers. It sounds really pretentious to say.
Let's hope we've got a lot of drummers listening.
Yeah, all those drummers out there.
Only drummers.
Well, it's only people we invite, and I don't invite any other drummers because I don't want competition. That's a joke. The other point I had was this song reminds me of a band that I think you'll like, Mark, called Baptists. They have this drummer called Nick. I think it's Yakishin.
It's just Nick.
Just Nick, just this guy Nick. And there's a half an hour long video on YouTube, which I will show you after, where it has this. It's just a drum cam of him playing like just modern thrash stuff, which is kind of what I consider this to be similar to, and it's really, really good. And this guy is right up there, I think, in terms, because I would rate that Nick Yakishin as one of the best drummers I've seen, and I think this guy's he's touching Nick Yakishin's beard.
I can imagine that's very distracting when you're trying to play drums.
Yeah, it's really inconsiderate of him.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no more talk about drums now.
Where does it go?
What numbers have I used up in like between 5 and 10?
Between 5 and
Have
10.
I used 5?
6 and 7. That's it.
I've used 6 and 7. I will put this at 5 then.
Okay.
Looking at the blank spaces you've got, it's an interesting end to the album.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this track on its own. But I feel like right before this track is where they should have put Fear and Trembling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to say, because coming off of 3 pretty fast-paced songs that don't really slow down, I feel like before this track comes in, you could do with something to
break it up a little bit.
Break it down, yeah, and just sort of just get I don't know.
You seem exhausted just talking about
That's
this
the
album.
thing, is like it really drained me by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made me not really like this track as much as I think I do when I just listen to it on its own, because I distinctly remember getting to this point and being like, I want this to end.
It
Looking
usually
at it,
gets to
it's
about
got
this
5
point in the
songs
album where like either the security guard has come to get me or I'm getting tired from still spin kicking that cheese in the eye. Like it's by this point I start feeling the strain.
There's not much
Callback.
cheese.
Callback.
There's not much cheese
big,
left.
Big
anymore.
pile of sort of knocked out midnight shoppers around you. Okay, so that's
Doris just needs to come get her milk. And she's just floored.
oh, good old Doris. Right. So the next track is 1977.
Yeah. So
1977.
77, no.
One of the shorter tracks on the album, by the look of it.
Makes up for lost time though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Gets through a bit.
Definitely packs a lot. And again, this is another one of the songs where I'm hearing it, I'm thinking, live, this must go off.
Mm-hmm. That'd be quite scary to be involved in that live, I think.
Yeah.
You can see people crowd killing in the pits, like,
I'd say all 4 of us are pretty fragile boys in the first instance. So.
No.
I'm hard, mate.
Tough me.
Dan goes to the gym now, so I mean, he's got the protein shakes in the fridge at least.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just fucking down in protein shakes.
The absolute
I'm not
unit
actually
sat
going
next to
the
me.
gym.
You've got
Just like the
part
taste
one
man.
of it. Yeah.
God's
Listen.
perfect killing machine.
I went in the pits at Night Cafe, and I was the hardest person there.
Night
Also the
Yeah,
oldest.
in that 16-year-old.
Also the oldest by about 6 years. It's a
I,
very depressing realization.
I got basically forced into a pit at Peace
Mate, piece of class.
class,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say this happily, the people in that audience were arseholes.
They can be.
Absolute
It depends.
arseholes.
I think it depends where you see Peace, but I
Mhm.
can imagine the festival crowds for Peace.
Yeah, they were
are
not.
Horrible.
If we're
Right.
talking bad
Peace were
fan
great, though.
bases, Catfish and the Bottlemen, worst fan base I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had one of my very few Facebook posts about Catfish and the Bottlemen
Yeah.
after we'd been to see him, and they are just all arseholes.
Oh man, I hated them.
So I think I had a bit of a time with Andrew WK fans.
I can imagine.
I was
Were they not just all partying?
because I was
though?
flyering outside, and every single one of them who came out looked like they wanted to hurt me. I was just like, I actually had a guy stop and just stare at me for a minute. I was holding a flyer out like, do you want it? And he just stared.
Well, you know what they say, mate.
They do
When it's at the
party
party.
He was waiting for the drop. Back to
Yeah.
1977.
There's not too much in this song for me, to be honest. I like the delivery specifically of the line "A new day will follow a nuclear blast." That's pretty cool. And like I was saying, the where's it gone? Where's it? Life isn't ours. We are property of life.
Mhm.
I
pretty
vibe
good.
that one too.
Yeah.
Not too keen on the last closing lyric. That's just stare at the sun. Look directly into the sun.
I don't want
Stare
to.
at the sun.
I don't
Look
want to.
directly into the sun. Yeah, it's not too much on this one, but
But where does it go?
in the trash.
And they're right down the bottom, is it?
Right. It's because I've used up 12, 13, 14.
Still got number 15, I'm pretty sure.
I know what-
You've still got 15.
One.
And between. So you've used 10 to 14.
Oh, bloody hell.
What
You know what?
tell
I
me
was wondering what I'd put at number 15, and I reckon this might be it, actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think this is number 15.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really argue that. I think the only thing I'd really sort of bookmark this song for was that it was, I think, it might have been the second most thrash metal-y one outside
Mhm.
of Glitches, I think was what I said was
Yeah.
the most thrashy one. Which I liked. I liked those songs purely on merit of them being thrash metal songs, which I'm not a thrash metal fan, but I think it's just a fun genre to listen to. But I don't really. There's ones that I like less, but I don't. I wouldn't be like, how dare you put it as your least favorite song.
Yeah.
Just getting all the hardcore Eated fans kicking down my door. Like, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
1977 defines a generation.
I've not got much else to say.
Nah,
It's
it's
funny that
Well,
it's
I don't
just
have
the
much
same.
to say in the rest of the album.
I will say that they've copied a piece on naming that after a year.
You're talking about
Whoa.
it's not just called,
1998.
no, it's called 1988 something else, isn't it?
No, it's just called
Delicious.
1988.
Isn't the Bowling for Soup song 1989 called 1989?
That's not by Bowling for Soup.
Is it not?
Not originally.
Oh no!
Also,
oh my
that's
god! Have you ever
1985.
heard the original?
No.
It's so uncomfortable to listen
It's
to. I'm
really
so
bad.
used to the
Yeah.
Bowling for Soup version.
Whoa.
It's so
I
weird.
didn't know that.
Mind blowing.
We'll
stuff.
play it
It's
after the
hard.
podcast.
Well, as far as that goes, you know Oasis, the importance of being idle?
Yeah.
Apparently that's not an Oasis song.
Well, it's an Oasis song, but they completely nicked it.
Yeah. Apparently some guy sent it off as a demo.
He sent them demos, and Noel Gallagher just took it
Ripped
because
it.
he hadn't copyrighted any of it.
Incredible.
Oh.
Only Oasis song I like as well.
He also did that with what's this? He did that with a T-Rex song. Get It On is
Yeah.
the exact same as. Is it Cigarettes and Alcohol,
Yeah, I think so.
or is it?
Well,
Yeah, exactly like that.
It's
Here
proof.
at the
There's
here
a-
at the Little Slice podcast, we do not endorse plagiarism.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we stole our title from a song.
Yeah,
Artistic differences.
yeah.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Next song is Map Change.
Coding. Yeah, so
Map Change.
map change.
I have got to be very careful to not gush all over this song. Also, I'm never saying that word again.
I felt uncomfortable the
I'm
second you
offended
said it.
that I've committed that to the podcast. There is evidence of me using that word.
I felt very uncomfortable.
Ollie Sykes used it on the album Ammo, and it's a low point of that album. Map change
A
is
low point on an album with Ollie Sykes on it must be real low.
Moving on.
Ooh, hot take.
Hot take
Hot
alert!
Ammo
There you
slaps.
go. Daniel hates Bring Me the Horizon.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
That's not a
it.
controversial thing to
Right.
Dan.
It's not much
This
of a hot
song
take.
is. I'll tell you now. This is number one on my list. This is a highlight. I mean, it was one of the singles anyway, but the riffs, the lyrics, everything about this song, I just adore. My God.
I think it does. It sort of hits sort of in the fatigue stage of the album, and they drop one of like the best songs on the album.
Yeah.
Which I can't tell if it's a good choice or not.
Well, I think if we were listening to the standard edition album, it would be a very good choice because this is a great song to close the album with, which is what it would be. And it's a real shame that
That we picked the deluxe.
I think the real issue is that I get that they've tagged the other two songs on the end, but if they did those as like bonus tracks but in the middle of the album, I think that would be a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Like how Fight Star did Be Human, and they just took the track list and just said, nah, fuck that, we'll do it this instead.
Yeah.
They completely changed it.
I'm
around.
looking forward to you picking a Fight Star album.
Oh, I'm definitely picking a Fight Star album.
I'm looking forward to it.
All I've been listening to in the house recently is just Behind the Devil's Back on loop. We'll get to that another time, though.
All I'm gonna be able to think about is Busted though.
Yeah. I know, it's great.
There's
Mate,
more about
have
me
you ever
than
heard
anyone else.
Sink with the Snakes by
No.
Fight Star? Because again, we can get to that, but that blew my mind. Like, this guy did Busted.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, no,
God.
it's nothing
Right.
like that.
And I'm trying to learn it on guitar, and I'm not a guitarist. So it's not. So I spent like 5 hours yesterday just working on it, and at the very end, I was knackered. I was like, right, let's see how far into this song I've actually gone. 20 seconds. That's how far I've made it into the song.
I can relate to that.
Is that in drop A? Is that what
It is in drop A, boy.
I can't believe you did that.
For context, I asked Daniel to set my guitar up in drop C for me, and I was like, do it in drop C. It's going to stay in drop C. Within 10 minutes of taking it home, let's put this puppy in drop A. Yeah, this song, though, I could highlight my favorite lyrics, but I would be reciting the whole lyric sheet. Everything about this, for me. I mean, I think...
What the fuck just happened then?
I think Dan just had to swat a fly.
We
I
both in
swatted a fly.
tandem murdered a bug.
I swatted it towards Spike, and then Spike slowly.
He just
Slowly
lowered his hand on
Put my hand on it. Oh, that was...
The death toll of the Little Slice podcast has reached an all-time high.
That was really strange. That was the weirdest way I've ever seen anybody kill an insect. Oh, it's alive!
Oh my god!
It's a Christmas miracle, boys.
Reset that death counter.
Oh my god.
Days without incident.
We've just got a crippled counter now instead.
It's always more strange seeing something like that in complete silence while someone's trying to make a point. Like, I just looked at you two like, how
He's
did...
taken off, boys.
Okay.
He's off.
Survived my
I think
shit
it's-
attempt.
Okay, so the banner is now Spike hates insects.
Spike hates natural life. Hey, buddy. What a guy.
Don't go
This
back
song,
one.
if I remember correctly, is still my featured song on my Tinder profile.
Ah.
I don't have you on
Yeah, I thought
Tinder.
you pulled out your phone like you're
You
going to
have
find
not
him
matched
on
me
Tinder.
my friend.
No, much to my dismay, I haven't matched you on Tinder.
Try Grinder.
Yeah, it's a good place to go.
Can you even have a featured song on Grindr?
I don't know.
I spent
Just
a little
Carly
time
Rae
with-
Jepsen.
Mate, don't even talk shit on Carly Rae Jepsen.
It was a positive comment.
I'm really enjoying the fact that we've got to Marek's favourite song of the album and we've completely deviated.
And Marek's about to talk about how much he loves Carly Rae Jepsen.
Mate, you listen. Well, to be fair, I'm Carly Rae Jepsen trash because she writes a lot with Josh Ramsey, the frontman of Marianas Trench, another band I'd totally go off on one about. I just Map Change and Sour Candy by Carly Rae. I tell you what,
She's
in a
Call
pod.
Me Maybe, right?
she's calling
Yes.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. Which was written by Josh Ramsey.
Ben Howard does a really good cover of Call Me Maybe.
He
on Live
does.
Lounge. It's
Yeah,
class.
it is actually really good.
Yeah, but it's not the
Yeah.
best live lounge cover ever, is it?
Go on.
Slaves, Shutdown.
Yeah,
You know what?
It is
that's good.
I don't like
It is
slaves.
good. A lot. Of
Saying it
people,
now.
I
Hot
think
takes.
Hot takes, boy.
we need like a hot takes sound effect.
Hot takes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just clip that and use that.
Every time.
What?
I don't like slaves. His accent.
I
just-
get it. I feel like you'd like the first album though if you listen to it in full, because like I don't like the other two.
Let's put it on the podcast.
I will happily pick that album at some point because I think that album's absolutely banging.
I'm happy for another opportunity to listen to more Slaves.
I've seen a performance of them, obviously playing, and the drummer was just standing up, just going
Yeah.
at it standing up. I was like,
Yeah.
this looks cool.
Saw them at Reading last year and they came on to Venga Boys. It was beautiful.
Nice.
Also fun, it's a complete side tangent, but fun little fact about that performance. Was it Slaves? I think it was Slaves who were after Little Pump.
Right.
So Little Pump proceeded, like, in his set, he did Gucci Gang. Basically everyone.
Oh, that's
liked.
Little Pump.
That's
Oh,
Little Pump.
one-
So he did Gucci Gang, then everyone didn't really care. And then he started attempting to fight the audience, and the security were basically making sure he didn't hurt himself, like babysitters. And he started, like, throwing out homophobic and racial epithets out in the crowd.
Huh.
And then he was he was trying to get everyone to chant "fuck you" to the security. Nobody really joined in.
But
But then
on the security side.
he finished early and walked off in a big hissy fit, like he was throwing all his toys out the pram. And then Slaves come and were like, can we just get a big round of applause for the security who had to deal with that?
So that's not very Gucci Gang of him.
It was not very Gucci Gang. Anyway, Map Change.
Map Change. My God, please, someone else talk about it before I just tell you how much I love it again.
I would agree with you 100%. I think it's the best song on the album. I couldn't stop like the first proper run through of the album that I gave on my own, where I was really focused on listening to it. This was my favourite song, and it's remained my favourite song. And I kept on sort of I had that ending where it's just the guitar and the vocals like just going around in my head like all the time while I was at work. There's not really much I can say that you haven't already said. I think it's that chorus is what makes it. I think that chorus puts a bow on the whole album, which ties into how I've shot myself in the foot for the next about 10 minutes of the podcast because I was listening to the deluxe edition and I was like, at times this album is a bit of a slog to get through, but it finishes really nicely. This nice fade out, it's lovely, and then it fades out, and then the next song starts. And I literally turned it off and refused to listen to the final two songs because I was like, that's a crime that they've had the perfect ending to this album that really elevates it, and then they put in two other dead heavy songs, which I know now is just the bonus tracks on the deluxe edition. But I am nothing if not a man of principle, so I haven't listened to any of the bonus tracks. But I'll be a bit of a passenger. But yeah, I think it's as good an ender to an album as I can think of ever hearing.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, that's nothing that hasn't already been said. If we're going to recommend a song for anyone to listen to, it'd be this, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They were all
I
happy
don't
with
think there's much more to be said on it. So
we'll move on to Skin
let's
Without
get
Bones.
into this next.
I was going to say a quick story about the song,
okay.
if I may bend
Sure.
your ear for a moment.
Oh my,
Raise your goblets, gentlemen.
mine's empty.
We may be
so
running
obviously-
longer than I thought, but it's fine.
No, it's fine. So Every Time I Die at 2000 Trees, and I was chilling at the very back of the crowd by like the desk with my friend, a couple of friends, and they were doing Hot Damn, one of their earlier albums, in full. And my friend Hannah, shout out to Heads Above the Waves and Team Up, her properties. She was going hard for all of Hot Damn, and it's an album. It doesn't really care much to me. But then they played this song, and normally at the very back of the crowd, I feel quite awkward, and I wouldn't want to join in with the sing-songy boys. I went hard for this one, boys. It goes off live, incredible, and that's what I wanted to say.
Fair play.
I can imagine
It
that.
feels like one of those songs.
Oh, actually, one
great
more
live.
thought as well. I don't like albums that fade out.
See, I don't like songs that fade out. I find a fade out is a cheap way of ending a song, but I think it works here.
Fade out, more like cop out.
Hey-oh.
I do think it works in this one. I think there's a few songs. Another song actually that is an album ender that fades out is "Exhausted" by Foo Fighters off the self-titled album, the debut album, and I think that's another one where it works in much the same way as this, where it just kind of fades out because it's that ending is such like a nice moment on the album that I think to have it like resolve would sort of cheapen it and maybe make you think like that it does end. I think it's nicer to have it kind of just
I think
trail
a
off
lot
and
of I've had a lot of issue with fade outs in the past.
I don't like it.
But I completely understand where you come from with that. But like, it sort of is a thing of a lot of people just use it quite badly.
I'll tell you
it can be used to really good effect.
I'll tell you who's the worst for it, and it really pains me to say this because I absolutely love him. John Mayer. Please just write an ending. Stop fading out.
The
all
man
your
should
songs.
learn his lyrics first.
All right, you've been going off about this since we watched him do Neon.
Get wrecked.
I knew that would fucking wind you up.
I love John Mayer, but he fades out songs, and it
What I quite
really
enjoy
annoys me.
is I'll talk about bands I like, and you're all like, yeah. And Jim will talk about bands he likes, yeah. Dan. Spike likes Frank Turner and John Mayer, and every time he mentions them, we just rip.
That's why I'm really scared to do any of their albums for this podcast, because you guys are like, nah. Because I was thinking of doing Continuum, but I was like, I really like that album. I don't want to hear it get absolutely dragged.
He's good. Like, there's no denying that John Mayer is a very talented musician. It's just that he's an
not a
arsehole
joke.
and he doesn't learn his lyrics.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
That's not opinion. that I'm pretty sure by this point it is well-known fact that John Mayer is an arsehole.
I think.
And he accepts it himself.
Well, I'll pick a John Mayer album and we'll talk about this.
Do the one that's got Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. 'cause
Continuum.
That's Continuum, yeah.
Such a good
That's a great
Bingo.
tune.
Clearly ripped off
really good
Joji.
song.
Right. Let's move on to Skin Without Bones.
Without Bones. Clearly ripping off the Foo Fighters here.
I was going to make that joke, and I was like, that's a rubbish joke. I shouldn't have said that.
I'll make it for you, Jim.
Nice one.
I
Cheers.
don't know if I really have a lot to say about Skin Without Bones.
Mhm.
Likewise.
I think it just sort of fades into the background of the album. I think I've said
Mm.
that about another song earlier, but this one really does sort of
Yeah.
You
doesn't stand out.
You could probably switch this in and out with like any 3 out of that run of 3 that we've mentioned
Yeah.
were kind of a bit
Yeah, I think so.
on the same tone, and I don't think the album would suffer from it. I think
Mhm.
it's still a good song, because I think there's one takeaway that I don't think anyone could deny, is that they're all really good musicians, clearly.
Oh,
yeah,
god,
yeah.
yeah, they're definitely
Um,
talented.
Which I wasn't expecting from what I thought was going to be an emo record going into it, because my thoughts of emo is very, very limited. It's literally
Early
that
2000s.
there's
You
2
thought
types.
3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge was a band?
Yeah, I did. So I had like just 2 ideas of what emo was, with My Chemical Romance and then that one song by American Football with that really cool riff. What's it called? Like Never.
I don't know the name.
It's like Never
any of the names
Never
of their
Begin or
songs.
something like that. I can't remember what. So
Marek's world is falling apart right now.
You know what? American Football and Modern Baseball are 2 bands that I get mixed up all the time, and I don't listen to either of them. So I'm out.
Yeah. Well, all I'll say is I was pleasantly surprised, and I think, again, I don't have loads to say, again, because I listened to this song maybe once by accident. But it's clear that they're just really good at what they do, especially the drummer.
Yeah.
When you made the point about the map change fading out and then perfect ending, and oh wow, there's more.
Mhm.
Fuck, don't want to listen to it.
Mhm.
That wouldn't be so bad if this song was better.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if this song was different would be
Mhm.
enough. If it sounded a bit different to everything else in the album, like I think My Chemical Romance did it with Blood, the extra
Oh,
track
mhm.
on
Yeah.
Black Parade. It was just something really random and weird at the end that I think so it was quite nice. But it could have been anywhere in the album.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a band that would do acoustic tracks, but I feel like an acoustic track would be welcomed here.
Yeah.
I can't think of ever hearing them do an acoustic
Yeah,
song.
I can't imagine
can,
seeing
I
them do
can
it.
completely understand that they're not that type of band, but
Or maybe even like an interlude.
yeah,
Like
yeah, that would be.
because they clearly showed they can do creepy sounds
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the intro to Religion of Speed.
yeah.
Something like that, just to break it up. Maybe even a skit. Why not?
A skit.
If he's, if he says he's witty,
God,
then
people haven't had skits in
chuck a
albums for a
couple
while.
of,
Need more of that.
yeah.
To be fair, chuck a skit on your album, Dan.
Yeah.
Will do. Skip. There you go.
Sibilance. Yeah, no, I don't think much of this one either, particularly.
No.
I do enjoy the "Get Me a Voodoo Doll." I think that's quite funny,
Mm-hmm.
but meh.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
I guess we just move on to the next one
So I
then.
guess that
Yeah.
brings us to the last. Have I given you a list number on this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You got 2 spots
so
left.
you got 4 and 9 left.
Cool. What's number 13?
Fear and Trembling.
Not anymore, it ain't.
Okay. Is everything moving up?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Not the worst, but it's,
I think
that's fair.
it's one of those things where it can be the detriment of something if it's not like bad but forgettable.
I think its issue is I do like it, and when it comes on, I don't skip it. It's just I think in context, I have to remember that it comes after Map Change, and it's an extra song. And
Yeah.
Say 13, yeah.
yeah, please.
What's the name of it?
Skin Without Bones.
Skin.
It just reminds me of David Firth's theory, Skin Without Men. I don't know if anyone watches David Firth.
Nope.
He did so much more than Salad Fingers. I highly
Oh, that's the guy that
Oh,
Salad
the guy who
Fingers.
did Salad Fingers. Also the guy who filmed Devo.
Devo. The guy that
It's the
filmed
same
Devo.
guy.
The guy who filmed
Did Salad
Devo
Fingers.
That's
did
bizarre.
Salad Fingers.
MC Devo.
Devo, do you think it's dead?
Poor Devo.
Oh,
Poor
poor Devo. Primary school teacher. Oh.
But yeah.
I mean, in fairness, we reap what we sow with that one. You're going to be MC Devo and teach kids. I don't know what you're expecting.
Ah.
Fucking-
He did tours.
I'd say MC Devo's got an album, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did tours.
Oh, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did a shout out video for my
I
mate
can't.
Dom.
We've got to do an MC Devo album.
Nah.
Summertime
April
Gash.
1st. April 1st.
No, let's
Yeah.
not do that. All right. So next song.
Nothing visible, ocean's empty. Ocean empty, sorry, not all of them.
Have you ever thought
visible. What?
Oh yeah.
Nothing visible, ocean empty. I think it's not a controversial thing to say. I think it's kind of a weaker way to end the album.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, considering this only for the deluxe version,
Yeah.
I think that one should have been on the album as opposed to Coin As I Say or Just As Real.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
In that lump, this is a better one of.
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
It would break up. It would break them up.
Mm.
Definitely. I think one thing that's quite interesting to note is I was listening to that, especially the opening riff, and I think for a band that is 20 years old, did we say, they're doing a really good job at staying relevant, because that riff sounded like it could have been Issues. It sounded like it could have been Bring Me the Horizon. It's not. It sounds modern, like it sounds fresh.
Mm.
When I was Googling them, one of the articles that picked up was that Every Time I Die proves perseverance pays off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, especially with this album.
I mean, the Beatles never wrote riffs like this.
No, they didn't.
It's true. Oh God, just getting back
Imagine
in
how
hot
much
water.
bigger the Beatles could have been. It's
Talking
George
about
Harrison.
If you could name all the members of Every Time I Die and not the Beatles,
I can only name Keith Buckley.
that's
you know
fine.
what?
That's fine.
Thank God.
Generally speaking, with bands, I couldn't even tell you all the members of My Chem. Like I can't name band
I'd be
members
surprised if
for-
you can name me all the members of Scavengers.
There's me. Does anyone else really matter?
I
dear.
That's our
really want-
sponsor.
In a year's time, if this is still going, I want to come back to the Beatles.
I'll have
And
forgotten
s-
it.
Just give them another test. After a
Every
year.
day before we record the next, a year from now, every day before we go to film this podcast, I'm going to listen back to episode 1.
Do not.
Well, it can be like Memento. You're going to write it all over you.
You know what we
my,
should?
my next tattoo.
I tell you what we should do as a Christmas special. We should have Marek's pop quiz.
Try to test
And we
him
just
on music.
test him on stuff that anyone should know. I'll just see how much he knows.
Honestly, do it. I'm
Who
gonna
was
fail.
Elvis Presley and stuff like that.
Elvis Presley ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Hey,
Ain't
Okay.
nothing but a corn dog.
you passed that one.
Also, he was. It was like oh god, it was some sort of politically correct info rap that someone put out. I think it was the guys from Third Base, and one of the lines is they say Elvis Presley, but they need to extend it, so they say Elvis Presley,
Elvis Presley.
and it is the most horrendous thing I've ever heard in my entire
That's
life.
sick. I'm gonna start calling him only by
Elvis
that.
Presley. I think if you extend syllables like that, sometimes it can work quite nicely, but Elvis Presley is abhorrent. So there's a song I quite like that goes, drink like a fish, smoke like a chimney. I quite enjoy that, but
Yeah.
ah,
It's not a bad one.
I'm happy with this Chimney.
Chimney's alright.
You've got all that Mary Poppins shit, so
Will
it's
Varley
alright.
there for you.
As far as old artists go, Elvis Presley doesn't really do much for me.
Elvis Presley.
Oh boy.
All right.
If we do an Elvis song, what I'll do is
Elvis.
for that I will make Elvis. I will make us
Chimney.
the Elvis sandwich because it is the weirdest sounding thing. It's peanut butter and bacon.
I say, didn't he die in
Oh,
the sandwich?
God.
It's
Is that
peanut
kind of
butter
the
and
point?
bacon fried like French toast.
Oh Jesus Christ.
So this track.
This track.
Yeah, where's
Um,
this
There's-
going?
I don't
Back
know.
onto
You
it.
you had something to say about the lyrics, did you, or it's just you wanted to discuss them because
I
you
don't
like
think
them?
so. Oh,
Anything.
to be fair, actually, yeah, there's one specific lyric in this, which is one of my, not for the content of the lyrics, but the delivery of.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorite lyrics on the whole album. It's the line, "I lit a match and threw it into the garden. Yeah, and it took. Oh, it took." There's really nothing to that. But listen to that lyric, it's especially the way he's like, "Yeah," just gets me. I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking cool, boys."
Fair play.
Yeah, this song is just one. It's a better version of the section that's quite
Yeah.
a slog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, why couldn't that have been on the album?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
fair
can see that.
enough.
I'd agree with that.
Mm.
Well, I think
Where does it go on the
I think
list?
Oh yeah,
That writes
It's
up.
the
so
only
that's-
remaining slot.
that's in.
It's quite a
at-
high slot, and
If
it's
you're
like,
not changing anything around, that's number 4.
There you go.
Okay, do you want to
wow. That's
give us
quite high.
a little rundown?
So we have
2016's Low Teens by Every Time I Die.
In order of which Marek disliked
So-
the most first.
at number 15, got 1977, followed by Religion of Speed. And we got Skin Without Bones, Fear and Trembling. I forgot the name again, but I've put Cult in it.
Oh,
I didn't want to join your stupid cult anyway.
That's the one. The Coin Has a Say at number 10. And we got C++, Petal, Glitches, 6 is Awful Lot, Just As Real,
But not as brightly lit.
That's the one. And Nothing Visible. And for the top 3, we have Two Summers, It Remembers, and for the greatest song on the album, according to Marek Ball, Map Change.
I think that's
Agreed.
I think that's a very uncontroversial
Strong
opinion.
list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The album suffers near the 7, 8, 9 mark.
Yeah, sort of as
Yeah,
a overall, what do we think of the album?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I mean, everyone knows I love this album. So.
Yeah.
I would say I definitely enjoyed it, and there were definitely songs that stood out to me that I will listen to from now on. But as an album, I found myself getting quite tired out by the end of it, especially with the deluxe edition.
I'd say a pretty similar thing, I guess. Again, it opens with a song that I have absolutely no idea what it's doing there, but then follows that up with quite a lot of enjoyable tracks, and then lulls for a bit, and then comes back with Map Change. And it's quite impressive for an album that I thought I'd absolutely detest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you'd absolutely detest it, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, no,
You have to try harder next time.
well, this is. I'll be honest. This is why I wanted to do this podcast, because I don't listen to this stuff enough to know whether I'd genuinely like it or not. I don't give it the time of day. So
Little slice deep lore, boys.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we move on to our
Well,
topics?
I want to hear what Jim thinks
Yeah,
of the album.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Even I've
Sorry,
got
Jim.
to say about the
Jumped
album.
right ahead of you.
I think I really enjoyed reliving a bit of like high school, sixth form, post-hardcore fan me. I think I don't listen to much heavy music anymore most of the time because I don't have the energy to do it. I feel
Gotten old.
like yeah, exactly. Not a young lad anymore. But I really enjoyed it. I think first listen through, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I really wasn't sure if you were going to like it because we listened to it in the car on the way back and we're both a bit miserable by the end of the album. But having said that, like now there's definitely songs off there that will go into like playlists that I have, and I would say now if I saw them if they were on a festival bill, there would be a reason for me to go to that
Yeah.
festival.
Oh, I assure you, they are one of the best live bands I've ever seen. Up there with Crossfaith.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see Every Time I Die on a lineup? Check them out.
Worth it. Very good.
Sound.
Wonderful.
That about rounds that off then.
Mm-hmm.
Should we jump to the new releases?
Yeah,
Oh.
jump to the new releases.
Oh, what we've been listening to.
Yeah.
Recommendations.
Yeah.
Recommendations.
Happy to go first if everyone else needs a second.
I'm ready,
sure,
but
I've
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, it's not really much of a new release at all, and it's not really anything groundbreaking to say. But Frank Ocean, I got put onto Frank Ocean by someone I used to work with. Her name's Elise, and it's Channel Orange was the album. I tried to listen to Blonde, which was the second one, which I think is more popular. I think
that's what the one I know of.
Yeah. I think Channel Orange is the first one and Blonde is his second one, but Channel Orange, really good. And there's a song off that called Sweet Life, which is like, it just has this really good chorus.
Yeah.
And it kind of, huh?
Of Zack and Cody, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Are we not above that?
No.
no, God, no.
No. Oh, yeah, I don't know why I said that.
Absolutely
We don't
no
even know
running
all the
in my
Beatles.
life, boys.
It's just like, there's a lot of the songs on the Frank Ocean album that are maybe a little bit too poppy, but at the same time you get the sense that he's someone who appreciates, good music, maybe traditional music, things like jazz, things like maybe a bit of soul, something like that. And there's little tinges of that throughout this song. So Sweet Life by Frank Ocean.
Oh, I love Frank Ocean.
Mm-hmm. It's great voice as well.
Oh, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Because Spike only likes artists called Frank.
There's a bit of a trend going on.
Cracked
Isn't
it.
Love John Turner and Frank Mayer.
Well, for me, because for me, mine would be like the pick of a band I didn't really know until I went to Reading.
Mhm.
and it was the first band I saw on I think it was even the first day.
So it's the only one you remember.
Yeah, exactly. It was the heat stroke got to me from there.
Oh, sure.
But
And the alcohol.
it was they just said, a mate of mine just like, do you want to just come along anyways, might be fun.
Mhm.
So I went and saw Seagulls,
Mhm.
who were really good. I had such a good time listening to them, and if I have to recommend someone, I'll say Call Me Out.
Mhm.
They're just sort of quite indie, but a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and
I've
I
heard
really had a
the
good time.
name. I've heard some really good things. to be
Yeah,
fair.
Seagulls, by the way, not Seagulls.
That was going to be my question, like, to clarify.
Seagulls.
Seagulls, not
Yeah.
seagulls.
Yeah. That confused me for a bit.
They're
Also,
just cutting about Reading stealing everyone's chips.
who else was good at Reading? Anderson .Paak was pretty sick at Reading.
That'd be.
Oh,
I wish
That
I could have
was
seen
that was
That'd be
tasty. That was
amazing.
absolutely
Oh, man.
tasty. Watching him play the drums and just sort of
yeah.
bob with it. Oh,
Anderson .Paak and Joji, I'm gutted I missed. And Mayday Parade, they covered Mr. Brightside.
Joji doing Slow Dancing in the Dark is the most packed that tent was all weekend, and having the entire audience scream the last chorus was insane.
Mm.
I think he did play to the crowd a little too much because he kept going, "Hey, what's up, Reading?" And everyone was going, "Yeah, we already did that bit."
Yeah.
But he was great. Everyone I saw was great, and there goes my voice.
That's
Had
the
a really good
side
time, and I swallowed half of Reading because all the
Just
dust
choking
was
up,
in the air.
crying.
Yeah.
Reading was beautiful.
Okay, that's
play.
Seagulls is mine.
Cool.
Also, listen to the new Frank Turner album.
Well, I'll go with the boys in the Night Cafe have released their debut album on Friday. 0151,
Mhm.
the area code for Liverpool.
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 Jesus, what was that?
Oh, it was my attempt, alright? I can't do accents. I don't know the Beatles. You could just fuck right off of this podcast.
You're never gonna get let into Liverpool.
I don't want to go
You'll
to
never
Liverpool.
make it in this industry.
I support their football team, but-
Liverpool's lovely, though.
Liverpool's the best city,
Best
in,
city
the
in the
world.
world, aye.
Liverpool. That's my best
Um,
attempt, okay.
That's yeah.
Yeah, but Lads in the Night Cafe released debut album, 18-track album. There's a few interlude tracks and intro tracks. and
I
stuff.
say they were
Yeah.
also at Reading, and I missed them because I was doing the Vans stage dive experience.
Well,
Nice.
They are coming to Tramshed next month, and if you wanted to go see them, I'd highly recommend it
I may
because
invest.
they are absolutely class. They're one of the best indie bands going at the moment.
Sounds
By far.
amazing live as well.
Yeah, sounds really good. Like the production on that album is so good. The drums sound crisp.
I'm so jealous. Like,
There's a song on it called "Please,"
Mhm.
and it opens with like a little drum intro. And me and Jim were in the car listening to it, and that starts, and we just went,
yeah, I didn't recognize it immediately. I was like, "Who is this band that have
Yeah.
like the nicest set of drums and the best micing I've ever heard?" I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's Night Cafe.
but no, album's class start to finish. This is like my genre, so
Mhm.
I've got a big bias, and especially towards these lads, because everything that they've done, I've been a big fan of. So
Mhm.
yeah, the Night Cafe, check them out.
Two, right?
Right, I gotta go for my friends, the band called Junior, dropped their album Beautiful Life 2 weeks ago, not too long ago. 13 songs of just, it's one of the better albums released from or one of the better releases from our local scene, I think, in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Super varied, a lot of things, because they're categorically a pop punk band.
Yeah.
But there's not that much pop punk on this album, which is pretty cool to say.
Still blows my mind that Mandrews is in that.
Of course, Mark Andrews, NXT. I don't follow
NXT
wrestling.
UK at the moment. I'm a big wrestling fan, and the lead singer is a very good UK wrestler, and he's done some incredible stuff. And he's also in this band that is like really local.
Also, with knowing Every Time I Die are actually really into wrestling. I'm pretty sure they've got wrestlers at TID this season.
Oh,
Hang on.
We'll fix it in post, boy.
All right, we're going.
Yeah, Brick by Brick is the theme for, is it called NXT TakeOver?
NXT Takeover. Which one?
I don't know.
Takeover is a pay-per-view, so they'll do a new.
It's one of them.
I can imagine them doing it.
Anyway, Brick by Brick is the
One
theme, and also one, is it Triple H?
Triple H.
Like, he's a wrestler I knew as a kid, and there's a clip of him just going, shout out to Junior who had the new NXT
Yeah.
theme or something. And it's
Oh
like,
my god,
I know that guy.
blows my mind.
That's cool.
It's the game.
And then track 5.
It's all about the game.
Who's that? That's Triple H's theme, isn't it?
That's Triple H.
You know what? It's
Go
all
ahead.
about the Big Show. It's the Big Show. Boys. When the Tower Falls, track 5 is that opening riff. The chorus. Just go listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's my recommendation for the week.
Okay.
Marek,
cool.
the local music hero.
Well,
I
I do.
appreciate that.
Do you have your album?
Yes, and I think what we should do is do a big reveal because there's a song off this album that I think everyone will know instantly. So if we maybe do a drum roll,
I
then we'll
think
go
I
straight
got a
into
feeling of what it is.
Do you want to end on the stinger?
no, we don't have to, but if we do a drum roll, we'll go into it
Ready?
and then we'll come back and maybe talk about it. Ooh.
So
Okay.
wow, that was
So there you go. So that's the album that I'm going to be picking for my first pick. Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. I think it came out around the time that they were probably, I would have said, the just like the hottest band going, like literally just like a band on fire.
Yeah.
It was when they had possibly the best lineup, the one with Nick Oliveri, although he's a piece of shit, and Dave Grohl on drums, which speaks for itself. Loads of bangers in it. There's also a few songs that can't really say I've heard, so there's stuff for me to get into.
I
sink my
only
teeth
really
into.
know no one knows and
Same.
go with the flow.
For something that is, I think, people who maybe, are aware of rock music or listen to rock music might be able to say, oh, Song for the Deaf,
Yeah.
that's a really good album. There's a lot of stuff on there that people won't have actually heard in a
Yeah.
way that it's got a lot of legs to it. 16 tracks, that might be a deluxe one, but yeah. I'm
sorry.
very
Sort of
excited for
catch
that.
Marek's face when you said it's got a lot of legs. You sort of very
Got a lot of legs.
quizzical look.
Took me a second to read that.
I had a when I was in college. I had a
A lot of legs.
a lot of legs when I was in college. Let me tell you, Spike the Spider they used to call me. But no, one of our tutors, and big shout out to Alan. He's incredible. He taught me a lot, but also he had this really weird habit of whenever you played him a song you're doing, you'd come in and go, "Oh, it's got legs, boys. It's got legs. It's got legs."
There you go. That's who I took it off, clearly. Me and Alan.
Go
On
with
the
the
same
Flow
wavelength.
is a banger.
Go with the flow is a great.
No
tune.
one knows. I am so bored of that song.
I'm excited for this.
You
I
might
really
have
wanna see
fresh
the rest
ears
of
when
it.
you hear it in the context of an album,
exactly.
possibly. I will say it's a little bit of a concept album in that it has a theme
Oh,
of
just
like
you wait till the week after.
yeah,
Oh boy.
it has a theme of like a radio, like a radio station show
Yeah.
that kind of runs throughout.
That's cool.
It's mainly in just like from what I can
You can
remember.
hear it. No one knows.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got a little bit of something else that kind of gives it a bit more of a flow to go
Yeah.
with. But yeah, you mentioned Go With The Flow. I would say, at a rough guess, Go With The Flow is probably the sixth or seventh best song on there. So
Fair
there's
play.
a lot of other good songs on there.
Bold.
Cool.
So
Is it
yeah.
as long as this album?
I'm not too sure. It'll be close, but I think a lot. Whoa, there's a few 6-minute songs, so maybe we'll enjoy that.
Yeah, be sound. All right, cool.
Sweet.
Well, I'm excited.
Mhm.
Likewise.
We'll
Plug the
speak to
socials.
you all next week. Oh yeah.
I
So
don't know why I'm bringing that up. I don't have anything.
Well, we
yeah.
have-
Well, now we can plug our own socials. So go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hopefully, by the time this one comes out, it should be up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's already up on Google Podcasts.
Google Play Store.
On the day that we're recording this.
Hell yeah.
We did have a few issues getting everything distributed, but as I say, should be all sorted by the time it goes out. So yeah, go follow us on all of them, on all the socials.
At the Little Slice.
At the Little Slice
It's
pod on most stuff.
The Little Slice Pod on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
It's a Little Slice Pod
Yeah,
on
I
Twitter.
couldn't get the Little
Ooh.
Slice pod on Twitter.
Who the
Stresses
hell's
me
taken
out.
the Little Slice pod?
It's too long.
I was about to say, that's
Do you know
taken.
what else is too long? low teens for every time I die deluxe edition.
You're not wrong.
It's like,
Oh,
Thank God for that.
Before we go, I actually just want to see exactly how long it was.
It's 50 minutes.
It's
Really?
49 minutes.
Actually,
shut up, Dan.
All right.
Oh. My album's 57.
All right. Well,
It's fine.
it's fine.
well, you know.
Thank you all for listening. Have a lovely
Yeah,
week.
Just listening.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Brush your teeth.
Call me beard.
Still feel weird.
All right. In a bit. Bye.
Bye.